It is the first game of the year. Some catching up to do. When last we left off, the Left Stars, who, as you may recall, are a group of disparate folks that came together through a matchmaking guild called the Heroes Academy some 6 weeks ago in game time. And you had signed a contract of patronage with Avendir, the Baron of Brandy, to do some sort of like undefined, flexible work for him, in helping to establish his resourcefulness as a Lord of Ventus. Um, Through this contract, you're formally attaching your name to his, and he has shared with you some upcoming priorities that he is hoping for some assistance on. That includes, among other things, helping support the delivery logistics of his flagship Ayrshire brandy, a very expensive product of his, that is going on auction over the next season, as well as helping him to both build and mend relationships with some powerful people across Ventus. And as you continue to investigate some other powerful people at Aesop's victory celebration after winning the Tournament of Tales, Drada had overheard some underhanded conversations between Ellen Trugust, Benedict Darkdraft, and possibly Bali Brightbeard, who all seemed perhaps joyful or ready at the prospect of Aventur's retirement from the brandy trade. But Aesop had received his heroic quest, a reward in the form of an opportunity for his victory of the tournament at the Tournament of Tales. And then you all had a quick check-in with Avendir just to sort of express some soft concern about his brandy security, and he assured you that Gris was taking care of it. And as the party winds down, that is where we left off. So the off the top of my head, I don't remember who has left the party just yet. So we're just going to pretend that it's sort of the final moments, should you have had any thinking on people that you want to approach or address between competitors, between sort of the VIPs that came into town. People are sort of starting to make their handshakes, their farewells, and are starting to not necessarily all at the exact same time, but it's in these final moments. The agenda of the party is concluded, and people seem to be on their way. What would you like to do?
Absolutely not a priority. However, before the party ends, I think Drada would probably muster up courage to talk to Dustin.
You didn't even have to finish your sentence, and I knew who you were talking about. Certainly, I think it wouldn't surprise you to know that Destin is currently in the company of one Benedict Darkdraft, not engaged in an active conversation. It seems like Puddles is sort of shaking the hand of some other guest and is sort of ready to shuffle on out to their wherever they are going for the day. So how would you sort of approach that?
I think I would find a moment where where Puddles is like very much engaged in conversation and might be looking away for a moment. And I think Drada like gets like a spurt of bravery, but it's really just a spurt. So like a big bold like walk up a couple steps away from Dustin, and then kind of just be like, oh shit, what have I done? And then be like, hi, I'm friends with Aesop, and I thought you did some cool stuff.
As this is happening, a little bit of karma. Can I try to listen into this conversation and do a little spying?
I don't see why not. Feel free. Go and roll perception check, though. You don't have. I assume you're not stealthing in to the degree that Drata would.
No. I'm just trying to listen in. So perception, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah. Oh well. You know.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes the rolls tell stories.
I know. I'm getting bombarded with the adoring fans at the party trying to tell me how much they love me. Sure. Okay. I'm distracted.
Drata, it's not very difficult to find a moment where Dark Draft is on some kind of tirade about himself, where just for a moment you can get Destin's attention, and it seems like Dark Draft isn't really paying attention at this moment to Destin at all, and just this kid who's, you don't know his exact age, but he's obviously young and shy, and he sort of looks towards you and says, "Oh, hi. Thanks. Yeah. Can I help you?"
Hi. Yeah. No, I just wanted to say hi. And that, yeah, you seem nice, and you did some very, very respectable magic earlier.
Roll an insight check for me. I'm not going to pull up Destin's stat sheet. I'm just going to roll something. Okay. What you register is a lack of confusion on Destin's face. He just doesn't really understand what your motive is. And he just sort of says, "Thanks." And then it's at that moment that he kind of gets like Puddles in sort of in the middle of a conversation is now sort of and this is my my protege, of course, Destin Oren, and sort of pulls him into a conversation where he's just talking to this person, this other sort of just like commoner in the town, somebody who must have attended the tournament, and says, "Didn't he do wonderful?" and yada yada yada. And it's sort of like, in this moment, it seems like Destin has been moved into schmoozing once again. But Destin looks sort of smiles at the person and then looks back at you as if wondering if that conversation is over or not.
And I think even if it were possible for Drata's cheeks to be very red through the layer of white makeup, they very much would be. But I think as soon as he gets pulled away, Drata just goes like, "Lovely to chat. Hope we can chat again. You seem nice and cute. Okay, bye." And like immediately like tries to get out of there as sneakily as possible.
Yeah, I mean,
and is now very much looking for any of his party members to be like, "Oh shit, did anyone see me?"
Yeah, you back up, and
I tried.
I don't think you necessarily, you didn't hear anything, Aesop, but you were looking in the direction, and Drata wasn't being stealthy in the direction. So all you really see is Destin look back at Drata with a raised eyebrow and sort of like a small goodbye wave. Something that Drata doesn't even catch because he's already turned around. They've already turned around. But Drata, you make your way back to the group.
Drata, where are you going?
Oh, yeah, I was just getting some punch.
I didn't know they had punch here.
Yeah, it's over there. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So how'd that conversation go with Destin?
Oh, I mean, we haven't really met before, so
Right.
yeah, it was just a nice little, hey, you did really great. Now I'm friends with Aesop. I hope, I don't know if you're friends, but you did good. Thanks. Bye. That's what networking is. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Do do you want me to put in a good word? Maybe help
You
introduce
know,
you?
I think we're fine, but yeah, I think we're fine.
All right. Then let's head over to get some punch because I am thirsty.
Go for it. I'm going to run to the bathroom. Goodbye.
Oh,
Edrada yeets away.
I'm gonna go find the punch that is supposedly at this party.
There's no punch,
Damn
or at least not in the direction that Drada pointed.
I still go searching.
Is anybody else doing anything in this brief time when people are splitting off a little bit?
I think Flint would probably be like largely just looking to see who's leaving with who and um kind of trying to decide if he's going to try and follow Brightbeard or the other one.
Ellen Trugust.
Yeah. Um to see if they might lead to where the lady in red might be staying, but I don't really expect that to be true. Unclear if I even think
Yeah.
she's still in town.
We
So
haven't played for a month, so I'm going to just offer a friendly reminder: is that the previous night of scoping people out, you had sort of, I think Drada had sort of learned, or somebody did, that people were packed up and ready to go. They after this party, everybody was going home. It was the
okay, so
impression that
their
was gotten. Yeah. So
cars are waiting, and
yeah, and as you sort of have this thought, it's sort of at the perimeter of the park. You see that there's a couple wagons with attendants of one kind or another that are guarded by a couple of the sort of purple cloaked local militia folks that are in this town. And there's a few of them at the party, but particularly there's a few that are at the wagons as well. So you get the impression that sort of like as people are leaving, several of them are probably leaving.
yeah, I think at that point, I believe at this point Flint was still kind of walking around with like detect magic and would kind of just be looking for anything going on that might seem suspect, but otherwise not really interacting with anybody. Otherwise, he'd probably get himself in trouble with Benedict or Ferelia's.
Yeah. Beyond anything I told you last session, you wouldn't, with what's left in your detect magic, you probably would not find anything new. But unless there's nothing else, as you all see um, several of the wagons sort of drive away, you do see particularly Ellen and Flint. Go ahead and roll a perception check. Since you did say you're looking to see who's leaving with you.
Ooh, nice.
Okay. Yeah, you do see that both Ellen Trugust and Dark Draft, who now also has Destin in tow, seem to be uh, getting on like a small caravan. There's a small group of wagons um, that both pull out together in a southward direction. Um, it could just be that they're heading in the same direction. It could be something else. You're not sure off of that by itself. And then you do. There's hold on. Let me pull out other people who were at this party. Bali. Well, I'll get to Bali in just a moment, but sorry, it's been a while since I played too.
All good. All
yeah.
good.
Heart Crusher seems to just be probably isn't leaving today. You get the impression that she's heading towards some bar or another, just based on the general direction she's going. That she might be leaving tomorrow. Additionally, the elves from Amthras, which is Atil and her assistant, they seem to have gotten in sort of a really ornate, like natural vine, like made out of vines wagon that doesn't even have any kind of like beast of burden attached to it. It's almost like it's being pushed forward by some unseen force that you're not quite sure what that's about, but their wagon seems to be pulling off in a northward direction. It's a pretty small one. It's sort of like more of a carriage, or like a they don't actually have like additional attendants. It seems to be just the two of them. As for Bali, as sort of in this moment, as you guys are just sort of like, I imagine, the party is in Aesop's honor. It's sort of, you're the last one to leave. Flint, as you're keeping an eye out, you do see that Bali's having a conversation with Avendir at the moment.
I mean, since eavesdropping seems to be a theme of this party, I'll maybe try to listen into that a little bit.
I'd make you roll again if that's what you want to do.
Sure.
Since you kind of got a lot off of that past perception. Okay, or just keep rolling well. Is anybody... So I just want to make sure it's not just you doing things. Is anybody else sort of doing anything in this moment?
Clark's is just kind of wandering around the party, just kind of really in his thoughts at this moment, just trying to think about what we should be doing, where we should be going. He's kind of half-heartedly looking around, but he's pretty certain, that with the information we have, Lady in Red's long gone. So he's just kind of off to himself, just wandering around, just thinking right now. He's trying to keep an eye out, but his mind's really elsewhere, thinking about all the different things that have gone on. What are we supposed to do? Where are we supposed to go? Stuff like that right now.
I'll be part of the cleanup party, as most guests have left at this point, and just helping clean up. If there are other attendants helping, then I'll be helping them.
There's a few of Avendir's people, but certainly the help is appreciated.
I also joined Team Cleanup.
Drada's just having a nice existential crisis in the bathroom. He'll come out in a bit.
The little Genasi's room. With your perception, Flint, how close are you getting? Things have quieted down, but it is sort of like a hushed conversation.
That's fair. If he wouldn't want to make it too terribly obvious, and get too close. If there's cleanup to be done near them that he can be feigning, helping with, or that elusive punch to be getting a drink of or something. But yeah, I wouldn't be trying to just like stand right behind Avendir.
Yeah. Okay. It's less of a... You don't get the full conversation. You get bits and pieces. And sort of in those bits and pieces, you hear Bali sort of exclaiming in moments where he's maybe more upset. He raises his voice a little bit and says, "I need it running in 3 days. They need to be in and out quick." And then you kind of look, and you see like Avendir sort of has a look on his face of feeling rushed, or that he's trying to negotiate in this moment, but you don't really get the words that he's sharing. And then Bali just sort of says, "Listen, if this is the favor you're going to do for me, these are the terms. They can come talk to me about it if they really want to." And then he leaves.
Not how I usually negotiate someone else doing a favor for me. Alright.
And you see him heading towards what you know to be the mayor's office. So
I'll probably wait for things to quiet down a bit and the group to sort of reconvene before approaching Avendir to discuss what I'm assuming is about the mine.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't take long for Avendir to sort of take a deep sigh and rub his temple, and he'll actually approach the group. All of you, whether I would say you draw to, even if you're hiding off in the corner, you see that Avendir is sort of coming to the group, and you can join in as well if you would like. But he sort of tries to make eye contact with everybody and round them up and says, well, I hope you guys had a pleasant evening.
Yeah. It was
Party?
Sorry, let me collect my thoughts here. It was a fantastic ceremony for Ace Up. It was really nicely done.
Well, it's least I could do, of course. We can take care of all of this. He sort of is indicating at the remainder of the food and tables and stuff, and says, I just spoke to the mayor, and if you guys are still interested in checking out the quarry, he could use some assistance with it.
I'm game.
I think sounds like a good deal.
We've got
Is there a timeline that we have?
He is pretty insistent that it be done quick, although he doesn't really know what's down there, and I cannot. Well, it's important that you're safe. You shouldn't rush it if it needs extra time.
So what information did he give you? Did he ever hear back from his group?
No. He told me that there was the Delver's Lodge, some guild that he had hired to bring a few people down there, and they're overdue, but he kind of lost track of that in the sort of everything that's been going on the last few days with the tournament. So he's very eager to resume operations at the quarry. Of course, if there's anything of value behind the crack that appeared behind the stone, then he would want to know about it. But primarily, the issue he's facing right now is that missing people means that it's shut down until it's resolved.
Sounds like a little bit more than just a minor inconvenience. Like coal mine, like rock mine. Okay, I'm done.
Flax is
I
laughing.
didn't get that. I didn't get that until you.
You as a player,
Yeah.
are fired.
That's fair.
Oh, you're so good at these puns. I just never make those kind of connections.
You sure you didn't want to make a bard? I know someone who played a bard that was hilarious at one point.
Oh God.
Just killed him.
Ace Up is not a funny bard.
We'll just have to kill Efdrada, and then Jacob can do Bard number 2.
Great.
Bard party.
2 bards.
Well, it is Avendir. Getting back into the mind of Avendir. It is indeed a problem. And as I had sort of indicated, but I'll say it more explicitly now. But Bali is somebody who I would like to make amends with. He's unhappy that I'm leaving town to pursue my ventures in Vind, and I think it's important that I can help him one way or the other. So he's asking for this to be done within 3 days, which, knowing him, the timer has already started. But you know, there are missing people down there, and I don't know what dangers that poses. So I do encourage caution.
Brightbeard have any sort of guide or a map at the very least that could come along with us to show us where these people are disappearing or point us in the right direction? I don't know how much of a maze this quarry might be.
That's one of the challenging things, is that the only people who went in, which is the Delver's Lodge and their folks, they are the only people who've been in there, and as of yet, nobody has come out of it.
Do we know much about the Delver's Lodge? Has any of us heard of them before? Like, are they just an adventuring guild, or did he hire them for a specific purpose?
Uh,
Can I make a history check on the
yeah,
organization?
I'm trying to figure out who would be the best person to roll a history check. I feel I'll let you roll with disadvantage, Aesop.
Well, I'll take it.
2 nat 20s. I feel it. Well, 1.
Well, you know. Yeah, you aren't quite sure. You just because you're not even sure if it's an adventuring guild or if it's more of like a labor guild, but it's
Right.
sort of in the it's nobody who you've worked with or heard before.
Cool beats. Well, I mean, we can get
So
started pretty
so I
soon,
imagine.
can't we?
Yeah, do we need any more information? I mean, did Bali get you all the informations, or do we have to go talk to Mr. Mayor and get any more information, such as what they were doing, what the party composed of, what type of danger do you think there is? Did they have any additional information? And again, I'm not peppering you with these questions expecting you to have the answer, but
I don't. If you would like to ask Bali to better prepare yourselves, I'm sure it's in his interest to make time for you. But our conversation was sort of the get it done nature.
Sure, we can figure it out if we just get started.
What time
like
of
mouse
day is it
behind you.
at this point?
I'm sorry, say out of character. Say it again. I didn't hear you.
What time of day is it at this point?
It's getting a few hours away from sunset. Sort of, and just to expedite, Avendir does give you directions. It is on the map, but I try to not pretend like the characters actually know the map. You get the impression that you probably get there shortly after sunset. So if you did start tonight, you might be like camping there. You do still have several nights rented at the Canopy, though.
No, I mean, maybe we hike over there and camp outside so we can get a fresh start in the morning, or
sounds like something. I need something to do. Been standing around too much this trip.
Let's
Mhm.
rock and roll.
I, DM, am going to kill you, Jacob. If that was also a pun. If it wasn't.
I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
Have any of you played Deep Rock Galactic?
No.
Mm-mm.
All right. It is a video game about a bunch of interstellar dwarves that are mining asteroids, and it is full of mining puns.
I have more. We're just getting the night started.
All right. All right. No.
And it's probably gonna go all over my head, and I probably won't get it until someone mentions
That's
something.
fine. It's fine.
God is a teenager with dad
Completely.
jokes. It's fine.
Well, Avenir sort of says, well, do let me know if there's anything I can do, but I think I mentioned that ideally it doesn't take you that long, but if it does, I think within the week we will be en route to Consonance to get our auction schedule approved and such. So stay in touch. But if I miss you, then I'll just sort of let me know if joining the auction trail is something you're interested in. Otherwise, I'm sure there will be opportunities for us to work together after this is done. And he'll sort
I
of.
think our intent is to make it back to then accompany you.
Very good. He sort of just like gives some polite curts of his head, and he trundles off. And you guys set off. It sounds like going straight for the quarry.
Yeah, I think so.
Do we know where it is?
Yeah, Avenir gave you some simple directions.
Cool beans.
I will ask for whoever is sort of leading, because it is off any roads, and so there's a little bit of navigation you have to do. If whoever's leading would like to roll me a survival check to kind of find it.
I'm happy to do so.
Alice could help you. She's pretty good at figuring out the path.
There you go. If you can roll with advantage. Maybe roll a little bit better. If you try real hard. There you go. Sort of the directions that Avenir gave you were sort of, go towards where the canopy is, and then follow the south road. And then as you continue, you should see a certain flat rock formation in the distance. And not that difficult to spot, you find, as you sort of make your way in that direction. Because it is sort of a large stone that is protruding from otherwise mostly flat land, some ways off the road. And it does take you a couple hours to get there. And it's sort of at this time that it is sort of starting to get to be sunset. You approach the quarry, and it's clear to you that this place is closed for operation. There's a variety of like work equipment, both in the pickaxe department as well as some like heavy mauls and more sort of the manual labor. This is not the time of big machines that do this sort of work, but there is a degree of scaffolding that is sort of snaking up, creating paths that reach towards the summit of this sort of like rock plateau, and there is a sort of like erected barrier, just sort of like a light fence, a couple wooden fence posts that are put in front of this large crack at the base of the stone. And as you sort of look closely, it says it sort of has it written in common very plainly, the "Do not enter" by by decree of Mayor Brightbeard, sort of meant to stave off any ne'er-do-wells who feel ne'er-do-wells in the town who feel like jumping into dark places for whatever reason.
Forgive
Go
me.
ahead.
Is this an act of mine?
This is it is a quarry. It does not seem to have like rail tracks or anything
Okay.
that bring it ore in and out. It's the gauging as best as you can, just sort of looking at it, is that this place is designed to carve the rock that is from the outermost layer and then haul it away. And there's a few wagons sort of discarded to the side for that purpose, and there's a few larger blocks of stone that are set aside. But
To
there's
clarify,
go ahead.
sorry. To clarify my question a little bit more is just upon seeing that equipment and everything, does it seem like this is stuff that has been used recently, or is this stuff that seems like it has been sitting for quite some time?
Give me an intelligence or a wisdom check.
Ooh, I think for me it doesn't really matter on that. Nope. Okay. Sorry, it has been a minute. Here. Actually, hold on. Where do I just find just those basic ones? I'm sorry.
It should just be under.
I have saves. Checks. There it is, right next to it. Wow. I am sorry, guys. 13.
Oh, good. 13. I mean, nothing. There's not a thick layer of dirt or dust on these things. It seems that, best you can tell, that it probably was active within the last couple of weeks. But that there hasn't been anybody to even take out the rocks that were sort of like there were several large stones that had been cut off and set aside, and generally they would haul out these large stones and then cut them into more manageable pieces before bringing them somewhere. But those are just sort of left out uncut. So the impression you get is that when things went down, it pretty much was full stop halt.
Well, guys, whatever we're looking at looks like something interrupted this pretty quickly.
Just to clarify for my own sake, the impression we get is most of the work is done on the outside, and this crack that we're seeing with the gate or fence in front of it doesn't look like where they usually go into.
Correct. Yeah, the icon I used when I made the map is like a mine tunnel, but really what it represents more is that a large piece of stone was carved away from the exterior of this giant sort of like boulder of granite, and what you see in front of you is more like a crack in the stone that sort of opens up into a pretty tall, like 10, 15 feet up crack that sort of forms at a tip. I'm using push to talk, so I can't actually like use both my hands for this, but forms at a tip up at the top, but that it's sort of like a thin sliver going down, and there's only just enough room to squeeze in it for a party of your size to a single file uncomfortably. And so you can't really see that deep into the crack. It seems that at the moment it's just sort of a dark crack with no light coming from within.
As we approach, are there any signs of struggle or footprints or cart marks or anything like that?
You mean, can you sort of tell me what particularly you're looking for, or what it is you're trying to discern?
Yeah, anything that was leaving the site quickly, or if there are... I'm also looking for any animal tracks, I think would be my two things.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me an investigation check with that.
Believe I have a -1, but I'm not currently in Foundry.
Oh, I will roll it for you. You rolled a big 4.
Ooh, so definitely.
Yeah, as best as you can tell, I mean, there are footprints. There are like wagon, the sort of the telltale sign of like of sort of unpaved roads that sort of just formed by dirt being flattened by this wagon or that wagon or horses or people over a long period of time. Like
nothing specifically helpful.
Nothing specifically helpful for this.
I think in a similar vein to what Mouse is trying to accomplish, but going about it through different means, Rada would like walk up to where the crack is and put his hand on it and then begin to cast primeval awareness.
Okay.
Just to see if there are any friends or less than friends in the vicinity.
Forgive me, I am reading the whole thing. I'm trying to determine, and I might need a moment to Google this, if it is just a yes or no answer, or if you're sort of owed some details.
Let's say it doesn't reveal the creature's location or number. So doesn't sound like you get much info other than a
And like a ping,
yes.
Yeah.
like a ding.
So it's a vibe check.
Say that again?
It's like it's a vibe check.
Yeah. I would say in a momentary ruling that I'll dig on the internet as you guys discuss, but a momentary ruling is that you get a vibe. There is indeed a presence, a primeval presence that you are now aware of.
I would love to communicate that with the group. Of just, hey y'all, you might be dealing with something other than just thievery or some sort of ruckus. There is a primeval presence here, nearby. I don't know where, but like nearby.
That's not good. Do we see possible recent foot tracks of the people from the Delver's Lodge going into the crack? Can I just check the ground to see of just like recent foot tracks into
Sure.
the crack?
Yeah, you can look for. Go ahead and roll investigation specifically, sort of at the entrance.
Right.
Um,
Not my strong suit, but you know what? I'll take it.
yeah.
Good.
I'm going to rewind to Drada's primeval awareness, and yes, I do believe that it is correct that it wouldn't tell you any more than I did tell you. But what I will say, just for the sake of sharing a little bit more information, the size of this, because primeval awareness is within 1 mile of you, you know for certain that this boulder is not 1 mile wide, and because. Yeah, that's all I'll give you. Sorry, but you can sort of just gauge that either they're somehow in the periphery or that you must be sensing the entirety of at least what is visible outside from the boulder. But with that investigation 14, with a little bit of light support, which you have dancing lights, you have avenues at which to, as it's starting to get darker, avenues to aid in this investigation. You do see a set of footprints that are heading into the crack. It seems to be sort of disturbed dirt and the footprints are only going in. You do not see any footprints coming out.
I'll just point to the ground and be like, so I mean, there's recent foot tracks. Who's to say this was the Delver's Lodge people? But at least we know that someone went in here.
And
It's not a dead end.
Give me an additional nature check as well.
Cool. Nature. Not so hot.
Okay. They're different. I would just say they're different size and shape footprints. They're not all like standard issue boots or anything, but you can't really tell what they are. They are humanoid size though.
Okay. Just quick player question: are these rolls adding my? Because I was just checking my player sheet just to make sure I'm like caught up with everything again because it's been a little bit. But are they adding in the factor of the +1 from the Champion's Crest?
Yes.
Cool.
And just so you know, you can always click on the roll on the chat bar, and it shows you all the various pluses and stuff. It doesn't tell you what they are, but like, you can figure it out that there's another +1 in there.
Okay. Thanks.
Well, should we make camp outside, or just go ahead and venture inside? I don't know how. I'm assuming none of us
Outside
really.
seems Outside seems like the safest place to be. We don't know what we're walking into.
True.
We need a camp.
What time
I
of
mean, I
day
didn't
is it?
spend any resources, but it's dark out. I don't know how quickly we're going to run into being exhausted and have to just sleep in the cave somewhere.
Yeah, you could probably go for another couple hours if you felt like it. You have had a pretty light day of just partying and relaxing. But now is as good of a time as any to camp if you so choose.
I'm good either way. If you guys want to camp, wait till daylight, that's fine. I can't see in the dark anyway, so.
True.
I mean, that's not going to really change whether it's light outside or not. It's going to be dark in there. We could maybe like just poke around inside a little bit and just see if it looks like this is going to be some like deep cave that goes way underground, or if it's just a small space, and then come back outside and camp. Or we
Works
just
for me.
camp for the night.
I'm good with either one. I'll take first watch if we camp.
I like the idea of camping in a spot knowing that it's more safe out here than possibly in there. Because we might just not have the opportunity to sleep while we're in there. Who knows? So I say we take it now and then just go in tomorrow. That's me. Drada, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that sounds great. I think we know where we are, and we know we have more like sure constants right now before we potentially go in. So let's take advantage of that while we can.
All right. Drop my sack down and start gathering up supplies to get a little fire going.
I'll
Alright.
help with the kindling gathering.
What watch would everybody like? It sounds like Clax's first watch. There's going to be a total
I'll
of
take
3 watches.
Second. I'm down for the second watch. If anyone would like to join me or not, that's okay.
Who all doesn't have dark vision? Is it
I do not.
Clax,
It's
Aesop,
me too.
and Mouse? Okay. We should probably double up, Nevdrada and I,
Yeah.
with, 2 of you guys. Maybe we start with Clax on his own and then double up the other ones where it's darker.
Sure.
You probably would have a campfire, I imagine, but I know what you're saying.
I can double up with Aesop.
Please.
Double up Mouse?
So it's Clax alone, then Aesop Drada, and then Flint Mouse. Okay. A camp is set up. You're able to tend to the fire. enough for you to be able to see. I mean, you all still have also Flint's little magic rock headlamps as well. So, light is an option for you. I think you have the one of you has like the radiant hand axe. Yeah, I don't know how long that lasts, but anyway, you have lighting options, Clax, as you sort of settle in. If you could roll me a perception check, and then just let me know what you're up to.
All right. Sorry, I just opened my character sheet and it covered up my stuff. Ooh, not very perceptive tonight. Clax is trying to pay attention, but as it gets dark, with the firelight being near him, he tries to set his back towards fire so he has better night vision looking out. Kind of rotates around the fire, so he kind of checks the crease or the crack or whatever you want to call it, as well as the surrounding area. Try and just ponder, spend some time thinking, really what could this be? No clue, but just still thinks about it. Then also tries to think about, what are we doing next? What do we want to do? And what about this quest? The Ace have got. That sounds like quite a doozy. So just really using it for some reflection, self-reflection while he's attempting to be on watch. We'll see how well he does.
All right. The night seems quiet, especially quiet because the playlist stopped playing for me. All right. Anyway, you have a bit of a cold sense in the air just because it's getting to be close to falls. It's near the end of summer, and so the nights are getting ever so slightly colder. But nothing happens, and you wake up Aesop and Drada to begin their watch.
Hey guys, all quiet on my end. Have a good watch.
Thank you.
Go find my bedroll and
Sleep.
down like a sack of potatoes.
You could both roll me a perception check and then discuss things. Okay.
So, before you even have a chance to ask anything, so how are
I know,
you
I just sat down.
How are you feeling about? I mean, so much has happened in the past week. Time's crazy.
I know. And it just dawned on me that this is like our 6th, 7th week of us knowing each other too, since we started this whole ordeal.
It's been like a month. A little over a month.
I feel like I still don't really know y'all very well, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're in a group together and we fight for what's right. Sometimes not. And you know what? We do everything together, and I just really appreciate that. Don't always find that.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
How are you feeling? It's been not just a heavy week for me, but I think for all of us too. There's just been so much happening all together.
It's like one of those moments where you can sit for a moment and see, you can actively feel life is progressing. It's like you feel your bones growing. You're just like, oh, things are happening, things are moving. It's not just I'm experiencing them as they happen, it's I'm experiencing them as they happen. And I don't know.
When did you have that moment? I'm assuming you had it
just the
recently.
moment. Yeah, just the moment when Avendir gave us all those contracts, and we were like, "Yeah, we're doing this thing." As of 6 weeks ago, I could not foresee that happening. Stable employment, me. Ugh.
For our generation, I know, crazy.
Maybe we'll be able to afford rent someday. No. How are you feeling? I know I'm kind of a dick about this, but all seriousness, about where like you and Jory left off.
Open-ended, which is
Like in a promising
May-
way or in a confusing way?
a little of both, but
Okay.
I'm not mad or sad about it because we have a great relationship. We've always had one since the day we met, and I'm not trying to have something like come in and ruin that. And if things work out in a more complex and romantic way than where things are now, then great. I'm not gonna actively push for it, but I mean, I have feelings for the guy.
I kind of like that, taking it as it comes, trying to put things out there, but seeing if they come to fruition.
Yeah. I'm not really setting any expectations when it comes to this. Maybe I should, and life would be easier or harder. I don't really know, but just,
No,
yeah, you know what I mean?
yeah, no, it's I know like something my dad would say to me is just like that. I don't know, it's something I go back and forth on, but like expectations can just be like pre-thought out resentments. So why not just go through just seeing and experiencing and perceiving?
Wise. You want to see this picture of?
Hi, dude. That was enough deep talk.
Do you want to see this picture of me and Jory that I made like right after he left? And it's just kind of like it's like a picture of me and Jory, not like holding hands. We're maybe a little closer than like, than what normally should be, but we're just kind of looking off into like the distant forest, like jungly landscape. So our backs are towards the perspective of the viewer.
God, you made future romantic fan art. How exciting.
You should see the rest of this book.
I don't know if I want to.
When time comes, when it's appropriate, then I'll have a little presentation.
Eagerly look forward.
All right. Unless there's anything else, with your perception checks, quiet night, nothing of concern, and you wake up Flint and Mouse.
Giddy up, y'all.
Morning.
Hard to rock and roll.
You could both roll me a perception check. Are you in Foundry yet? I can't. It shows that you are, but I could be wrong.
I'm probably still on my computer, which I'm not at.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing I've got a +7.
Okay. I'm rolling. Okay, you rolled a 15. Not bad. You just as you sort of wake up in the night, you do know that it's pretty early in the morning, but you still do have a few hours until sunrise. So feel free to discuss anything that you'd like to.
I think Flint would probably just as part of or during the watch, not that he can actually make any real progress on it, but have his breastplate out that he's been working on and trying to I don't know, find something to stay busy with while he's keeping watch. And then otherwise, I don't know, Flint hasn't really talked with Mouse very much, so I think he's a little bit awkward and unsure what to try to talk about. Do you like
Don't
stars?
you worry. Mouse will ask you all about your little robot that you've been making and why you decided to paint it the way that you did and where you learned how to make those things.
Well, I mean, I think draw to help me paint it. Previously, I hadn't painted it at all, and I learned to make it back in Flamebridge. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of figured it out. The like workshop I was in had like their own little robot, and I just kind of learned from how that thing was put together.
Figure we would continue talking, sort of comparing Fern's approach to shipbuilding to Flint's approach to robot making.
Yeah, go ahead and I'm gonna make you Mouse roll a intelligence check to kind of convey Fern's approach as best as you can.
Pretty sure that's a -1.
You rolled a 6. But I will say, Flint, if you could also just roll an intelligence check to sort of gather what you can from this.
That's fair. I may have accidentally spilled the most I've ever told you about how the starship works.
What you can, I mean, so Flint rolled an 18, Mouse rolled a 6. What I feel like the way the conversation sort of goes, is that Mouse probably doesn't have much of an understanding over what Fern does, but knows that Fern is like a project manager, like is sort of like laid out blueprints and like has an understanding of how things work, and sort of has a method to the madness, but you just don't. Mouse just doesn't know what that is. Whereas Flint, you don't. You know, there's a method to your madness, but it's also like, you know, it's like a tinker. It's not written down necessarily. It's all just sort of in your head somewhere.
It's true. Yeah, Flint will try to politely take that in without being like, you don't know what you're talking about or something. Nod along and try and act like it's very informative and helpful.
Additionally, if somebody could roll, well, I'll say Flint because you are here. Roll me a d20. This is not a Flint thing. This is just a thing that happens during your watch, and I want somebody else to be responsible for the roll.
18.
Nothing happens.
Cool.
Or something happened. I don't know.
I was gonna say your smile was way too big for nothing.
Hate everything about this.
You know.
Especially when you preface the role with "I don't want to be responsible for it." Good
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah, you know. You wake up. Yeah. You get a little bit of a tingle down your spine, Flint. Like a... You don't know. You don't know what it is.
The weird vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't like, it was sort of like a spidey sense, sort of like you don't know what it was, but you get the impression that it came from within the quarry. It was not a sound, it was more of just a feeling.
Jada, did you have any... When you say... Oh. Never mind. I'll not ask Jada a question.
Yep, Jada slept in.
Oh my goodness, Strada's awake.
Jada's awake.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I definitely didn't X out this tab by accident. What are you talking about?
When you say you get a primeval vibe, like, Is there any chance you could be more specific?
You know, I really wish I could.
What constitutes primeval? What are the things it could be?
I mean, the thing that jumps to my mind is like elemental.
Elemental. Okay. Well, you guys think we should just head on in? Anything we should do to prepare? I should probably change my spells.
Breakfast and some stretches first. Definitely breakfast. Stretch is optional.
Food.
I throw Gift of Alacrity on Drada, and
Ooh.
can somebody roll me a d6 for Whelan Woe?
Sure.
Thank you.
You have rolled an even number.
Cool.
And I will do my best to make some kind of like soldier ration with the rations we brought with us, because I'm sure we didn't like have nice things. We just probably still had rations and hardtack and stuff. So take the soldier in me from drills and stuff and make something passable for breakfast.
You better bet that I have day-old, maybe 2-day-old pastries from bread still in my pack somewhere.
I will ask if I may eat one of those pastries.
I open up my bag and it's full of crumbs, but you are welcome to anything I have left.
I'll find the biggest crumb.
I also give you like some hardtack as well. That's not meat related.
Cool.
Hardtack.
Yeah, my favorite.
Delicious.
Soak it in
It
bread and
works.
it's slightly less awful. Well, as you just sort of settle into the morning, the sun is high. Not yet high in the sky. It's still quite early, but sun is shining onto a otherwise dark crack in the quarry. The area around you continues to be quiet. There's no incoming or outgoing traffic. Normally at this hour, for those of you who've sort of done hard labor sorts of tasks, you would expect this is around the time the workers would arrive. But indeed, that has not happened. And you find just yourself quiet, and the opportunity is yours to choose how you would like to do this.
Oh, we're done with breakfast. I'll get situated. Kind of tighten my belt, get all ready, and start walking towards the entrance.
Are we trying
Flint.
to,
Oh, go right ahead, Drada.
are we just trying to be sneaky about this? How do we feel like we need to try to maintain as low profile as possible, or are we feeling a bit braver as soon as we head in?
I mean, I don't think we want to make a huge amount of noise, but
I don't think there's much sneaking in terms of like us trying to squeeze through this crack in the wall. We could try, but
That's fine.
And not to be rude, but just after watching you guys, if we run into trouble, you probably want me up front. And I'm not the quietest person, so.
Go for it.
All right, now Flint, he gave me this magic doohickey. Do I talk into the hilt of my axe? Do I just think? Do I tap somewhere on it? Like, how do I make this thing light? Like, you showed me once, and I forget how you did that.
this is a great question. Does this give me any? There's no real indication in this
I think it's,
Yeah,
it's up to you.
mechanically, so.
It's up to you.
Yeah, no, there's totally a button, like right on your thumb. You just like click
Right.
that, and it turns
Oh.
on like a big.
This one right here.
Yep.
All right. Use my bonus action to light it up.
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say it's less of a analog button and more of like a touch screen button.
Like a rune.
Yeah, a rune
mouse
that he's
over.
carved. Yeah, Suddenly, your axe glows with radiant light. I'm trying to figure out how long that lasts.
So according to what I read, it is until I end it as a bonus action.
There you go.
Now
It's
the
also
charge is
very bright.
yeah, 30 feet. It is super bright. So anybody has dark vision, sorry, you ain't seeing shit.
30 feet
Nice.
bright light and 30 feet further of dim light.
All right, well, we'll see how that goes when we get there.
Yeah. Okay, so no sneaking. Okay, great. Yeah, definitely not. Cool.
What is the marching order through this this really tight gap as you sort of enter? Obviously, Clack's in front.
I feel like Flint would either be right behind Clax or taking up the back. I'm not clear.
I think Drada's happy to take up the back.
Flint will be right up behind Clax then.
I'll be second back, so I'll be in front of Drada.
That
Oh,
puts
mouse.
mouse in the middle.
Mouse in the middle.
Alrighty. I tend to imagine that Aesop is slightly taller than you, Clax. Slightly.
Yeah, I
But-
think he was. I'm 6'7", so I
Yeah.
think he was a little bit taller.
Yeah, but you are bulkier. You're
Hmm.
a wide frame, and the armor doesn't necessarily help. You do find in this moment as you're crawling through that your shield is just not. It's not going to work in this space. Holding your shield in front, it is a little bit too large to kind of finesse through this. This area that you're going through right now. And as you hold the radiant axe in front of you, you find that this clearly sort of presents as almost like somebody took a crack took an axe to the side of this quarry and it split it open. But through a result of that, it is a little bit more jagged than you would expect. It's not sort of a clean, smooth blow like a lot of the quarry work is, where they sort of intentionally create fractures and pull out big pieces of smooth stone. This is sharp on the edges, and not to the point of concern for anybody, but it is very uncomfortable and it's very tight for you. Those who are behind you are having a little bit of an easier time depending on their size, but you in particular, it's tight. And go ahead and just sort of explain to me how you navigate that.
So if it's that tight and I still want to maintain the light, what I'd kindly ask Flint, can you hold my shield for now, if need be?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, how tall is Flint?
Probably not all that tall. Like 3.5 feet. How tall
It's
are you?
Your shield is as big as Flint is, to be honest. I mean, you can put your
Uh.
shield on your back. I will say you're not.
Yeah, if I can still keep it on my person. I didn't expect that, that's why I was kind of making the side motion. But yeah. I figured it'd be tough going, whether it's behind me, like kind of held by the side of it, just kind of behind me so I can scoot by, because even on my back probably makes it tight. Like, that's fine. I know that right now if something were to happen, the shield is not available to be used.
Yes.
But just to kind of make it so that I can kind of get through.
Yeah,
however that looks.
Yeah, you're able to navigate. It is really just like being able to hold the axe as a light source without the shield completely blocking your vision of it. You just sort of have to tuck it behind you in order to have any mobility at the same time.
And I'm doing my best to keep an eye out for anything that might trip or impede me or anything like that. But also knowing it's tight, I don't know how much. Good thing it's bright light, which helps a lot, but I don't know if I'm going to see anything.
Go and roll a perception check for me.
Perception. There it is. Going blind today. Oof.
Okay. The area, sort of as I had described it to Drada, this, because I sort of mentioned that when they did primeval awareness, that the entire boulder was sort of captured within the 1 mile radius. But the reality is that this boulder from the outside is probably just a couple 100 feet of radius, sort of just rather a couple 100 feet diameter, creating this sort of boulder that's poking out of the land. And so it's only sort of as you're getting 20, 30 feet deep that you're starting to, you know that you're already making kind of significant progress. This place isn't that big for, it's taking you quite a long time to move through this. It's definitely difficult terrain, if not a little bit more so. But you know that you are making progress, and it is sort of snaking a little bit. And it is when you find yourself pulling around just a kind of angled corner that I need you to make a dexterity saving throw, if you don't mind.
Sure. $13.
Okay. You almost slip. You catch yourself as you're going around this corner. You're sort of holding your axe high. You're looking mostly forward because you're sort of changing angles, and you're not necessarily looking at the ground in this exact moment. And you put your foot down and find it slide forward at a downward slope. But you're able to sort of, with your other hand, catch yourself on the side and sort of push yourself back into a standing position before you go sliding down.
Hold up, guys. Hold up. Gonna, now that I'm stable, kind of put my axe out in front of me as far as I can without getting close to that edge, see if I can see, like, what does that look like? Is it a steep downhill? Like, what do I see?
You do, so you said 30 feet bright, 30 feet dim, is that correct?
Correct.
As you sort of like peek around this corner, and what is probably the most awkward peek you've ever had to do, you find that the crack widens a bit, and not just widens a little bit side to side, but it also it takes quite a sheer drop down, probably about 40 feet. And go and roll me a perception check as well.
Ooh, I actually did well on that.
It's sort of at this moment that, whereas you were watching your feet earlier, you sort of, as you're assessing this, there's a telltale sign of sort of explosive marks that indicate perhaps that this new cavity that you're seeing might have been blown open by whoever has been down here. This is what was originally sort of a more organic split in the rock is now sort of turning into debris that is opening into sort of a more cavernous space at the bottom. But it is a good 40 feet down, and it is not something that any of you would have an easy time climbing.
So with it opening up just a little bit, I know it's hard, it kind of breaks down. Can I shimmy enough to let Flint take a look to see if he can see anything, or am I just, there's no room to even get any way through, because if so, I'll just make sure I relay the information.
I think gnomes actually have just the ability to walk through allies because they're so small. Or is that halflings?
I think that's halflings.
Yeah. I would say you could. You're probably fine. Flint, you could sort of just like get under Klax's legs for just a moment and take a peek.
I'll take a peek as well, I guess.
There looks like there's black marks, and I remember when we were in that warehouse, you knew about gunpowder, so I don't know if that's something you can look at.
Sure. Can I tell if it looks like this was like a magical or like just a regular explosion?
Sure, you could roll. I'd say probably just intelligence for this one.
Alright. Not great. It's a big hole.
Yeah, it's not anything that you would do. This isn't your style of explosion.
I don't know.
All right, then. Is there any way to tie off a rope? Because I know it's kind of jag comes around a corner. Is there anywhere to anchor a rope or anything like that?
It can't. Hey, is there any way I can squeeze through? I can be of help.
You are very much in the back right now.
That's what I thought. Can I see?
No. The sheer drop of this cliff that you don't even really know about yet. There's no way you can even see past Aesop, let alone to sort of see several people forward and then, 30 feet in front of you.
I'm like trying to like bend my body in weird ways just to try to give Drada like a way, like a perspective forward, but it's just like no.
I'm happy to climb over people. It's a tall and narrow crevice. If not, just figure it out.
Can I bend down far enough that Drada could just climb over me?
Go ahead and Drada roll. Just roll an acrobatics check. Just how, it's going to be awkward. This is how well you can finesse it. Okay. How would you describe you doing this?
I think it's a lot of, I'm imagining this crack being very narrow but very tall, so it's a lot of like pre-bouldering, like pressing myself on either side and like trying to monkey over and through. Definitely an accidental step on like Aesop's back or neck, and I'm like, sorry.
Oh, yep, that's kink now.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yep,
Skip back. Nope. You skip back.
Yeah, you don't have really much issue going over mouse or flint. By the time you sort of get your footholds on the walls to your left and right, but you settle up behind Klax in this moment. Klax is a little bit of a difficulty to getting past.
That's fine. That's fine. I heard we needed some help getting down, perchance.
Yeah. What do you think you can do?
Otto just snaps fingers, and you see kind of from above up some like kind of musty, nasty vines kind of converge into a rope that starts leading down into the darkness and casts rope trick.
All right.
So we have a 60-foot rope.
It's so strange. I always see people use rope trick for the hideout element and never just as a floating rope.
I don't know that it ever occurred to me to use it that way, but it makes sense.
Yeah. No. Interesting. I don't. All right then. If that's the case, then start climbing. So at this point, though, I guess I have to. I'm gonna put my axe back on. Put my shield back on over top the back. Again, the light's gonna be covered, but it's still hopefully emanating enough light so I can at least see, like, gripping my hands.
Yeah, it's a bit dim, but yeah, you are able to.
And then start using that to kind of rappel almost down. Use the slope with my feet, but just use the rope vine and see what it's like as I get down there.
Okay, go ahead and just make a athletics check with advantage. The rope helps a lot in this instance.
All right, and then advantage.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take the first one. No problem whatsoever. Clax, you grab onto the rope, tie it to your, not tie it to your belt, just sort of like wrap it around your hand so that you can sort of have some leverage against it. And it sort of, as you slide down, you release some of the tension in it, and it sort of unravels into your bracers, and you find yourself at the bottom. It is about 40 feet down, and I imagine you pull out your axe.
As soon as I get to the bottom, shield at the ready, axe back out, and kind of scanning around before, just make sure there's no immediate threat. And if there's no threat, I'll yell back up.
Okay, go ahead and roll a perception check for me. Doesn't seem to be any immediate threat. What you sort of do notice, though, and some of you hear it before Clax even sees it, but it's the sound of landing on metal. And you look down, Clax, as your boots are now touching what is almost a like grated plate bottom. Not graded in the sense that you can see what's below, but sort of like there's a pattern to it. This is a metal flooring that has sort of a graded pattern to it.
Okay. Well, I'll turn and yell up. Coast is, kind of half whisper, half yell. Those, Coast is clear!
Sage whisper.
Yeah, there we go.
Trada starts to shimmy down.
Okay.
As people are shimmying their way down, can I just, and I know I can't see, but can I just hear if anything's behind me? I'm just I myself am feeling uncomfy that I'm in the back of this dark tunnel, but I just want to make sure nothing's coming from behind us.
Sure, you can roll a perception check if you'd like. Drada, you do this climbing rope stuff all the time. You have no problem getting down. But for people who are a little less athletic or acrobatic than you, I'd sort of still like to have some rolls with advantage because of the rope to sort of make your way down.
15 on the perception.
Okay. Yeah, you don't hear anything behind you at all. But if Flint and Aesop could roll acrobatics or athletics with advantage, and I'm going to do it for Mouse.
I didn't realize this could have been acrobatics, so it would be one higher.
Okay.
Acrobatics or athletics?
Yes.
We'll just do.
I kind of forced acrobatic or athletics for Clax because he's heavy. So.
And
Sorry,
there was
it'd be
nothing acrobatic about him.
Yeah.
Or 3 higher. Whatever. It's a decent roll.
19 or 20.
Oops, that was with disadvantage on Mouse. It should have been with advantage. So Flint, you go ahead and slide down without too much issue. It does sort of, as you are sliding down, you do think that going down was easier, and with sort of the method that has been provided, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to get back up, especially like the tightness and narrowness of it would create sort of like obstacles trying to repeat the same thing. Going down is easier than coming up, just like stairs. But you are able to comfortably make it down without issue.
When I was picking my spells for going into a, cave, spelunking, whatever situation, I was like, do I want feather fall or spider climb? I think I picked wrong.
Aesop, not much of an issue either. Mouse, you rolled an 11. Go ahead and tell me, like, what does Mouse awkwardly look like trying to climb down this rope? Unless she stepped away for a second. In which case, I will just say, what you guys observe is that this rope situation is just not as comfortable for Mouse as it is for you all, and there's a moment where she's repelling that she hits her back on the rock behind her, and does suffer a little bit of damage as a result, but otherwise does seem to make it down without much issue. So she appropriately takes a 5 bludgeoning damage, hitting her back on the wall. But you all find yourself in, again, sort of observing this sort of flat metal flooring, and a sort of stale, slightly humid feeling in the air. You're in a room that immediately as you're there, there's sort of a signs of debris, previously mentioned, some kind of explosion that happened here, rocks that are scattered to the left and to the right, but there's some sort of somewhat destroyed mural in front of you that you can't totally tell what it is at first glance. That's sort of blocking what seems to be a larger area of the room. But right now you're just sort of at the landing of this room, so please let me know what you'd like to do.
Claxton just kind of start slowly walking out with the axe held aloft. I want to stay close to the party for the light, but also kind of make sure I'm a little bit away from them in case anything does strike at the light. I want to kind of be a little bit in front of them and just kind of start slowly exploring.
Did they tell us? Did we get any word from like Brightbeard or anybody like that they had been in here and exploring? Why? Who made this explosion?
Asking some great questions.
I'm pausing the game because I don't want people to freely walk everywhere, but this is sort of a soft visual of what you see sort of in the immediate vicinity.
Very big room.
I will ask, do we see, I know it might be hard with the metal flooring, but if there's signs of footprints besides ours?
Go ahead and roll a perception check. Also, I just realized that I forgot to turn on Fog of War for this layer. You might see things that you're not supposed to. Now, with a 10 perception check, it appears at first glance that this room, again, you're just at the landing right now. You haven't really sort of explored forward at all, but you don't see signs of footprint in this immediate vicinity. There's just too much debris.
Whenever we do start exploring, Rod is gonna probably hang back just to try to stay out of the light of the axe as much as possible. If that means exploring off in a different direction, happy to do so.
Well, with Drada hanging back a little bit, and Clax just sort of the sole source of light in this moment, taking a somewhat forward position.
Yep, and I'll just slowly, I'll kind of do one of those, take a couple steps, turn, make sure everyone's good behind me, slowly start exploring the surroundings, see if I can, and as best as I can, make sure there's nothing in front of us, especially on the ground, any signs of struggle, any additional issues.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
I probably won't separate myself as much as Drada, but yeah, I would, just knowing that I have dark vision and am more prone to ranged or use ranged, I'll probably go a little bit off to the opposite side of Clax than Drada.
Okay. I'm going to unpause, but just sort of move yourself a little bit. Don't freely explore everything. Just for like simple positioning. I'm kind of imagining.
Whoa! I didn't move him that far. That was
okay.
weird.
No, I did that.
Oh.
Yeah, I was just doing like a cursory, like you guys peek around the corner, with your sort of starting movement, and this is sort of what you start to see. The room, the room opens up a little bit more, and you notice just a few simple things that I want to call out. I want to pause again. So at the center of this, it seems to be a sort of ornately carved, almost like a pool of liquid that sort of is in the center of this room. This is just sort of at a glance as you're sort of looking at it in the distance. And go ahead and roll me, the dark vision people, go ahead and roll me a perception check. And yeah, just dark vision people. Okay, Flint, it's sort of, you catch it before anybody else does, but you sort of look above the pool as you're getting sort of a wider look at this room. And the ceilings in this room are generally about 20-25 feet of similar metal grating, except for several stalagmites that come from the ground and raise into the upper, like into the ceiling. So I don't know if they're stalagmites or stalactites, if they actually go floor to ceiling. But they're sort of like, they sort of pierce the ceiling in a way, along with spiral stairways that seem to go around the stalagmites. They're sort of like manufactured seem to be for your walking. But also those spiral stairways are both here. With your dark vision, you would expect to see texture or definition or something to the things that are far away, but you see this giant, about 20-25 foot sphere, black sphere, that is sort of in a recess that sort of mirrors the depth of the pool, on the ceiling, hovering.
Does it appear like it's like a black, like solid object, or is this like have like a magical or illusory or some sort of sense to it? Like, does it have depth or movement or?
You can roll an Arcana check if you would like.
Sure.
Yeah, hard to tell. You don't think it's moving. Clearly it's hovering, therefore there must be something holding it up in a magical way. But it's not like it's spinning or anything. It's not like it's bobbing. It just seems to be this like black motionless sphere that's hovering on the ceiling.
That's directly above the
pool, yes.
All right. We'll quietly point that out to the rest of the group. Although I'm not sure if anybody but Drada can see it. I don't know how high is the ceiling in here.
It's about 25 to 30 feet up, and it's sort of but as you pointed out, Clax can sort of like move the axe in that direction.
Does my light absorbed by it, reflected by it, pass through it?
Completely absorbed, or in the sense that it's still pitch black.
So Vanta Black type deal.
Yeah.
Got it. Clox is a little unnerved by that. So Flint, Drada, you guys any idea what that is?
No.
I
don't like it.
I say we don't walk underneath it.
That feels fair.
As everyone's kind of trying to figure out the room, I'm gonna just grab one of the, I'm gonna grab one of the rocks that are just kind of like thrown around the ground that's like holdable in size, and I'm gonna cast light on it.
Okay.
Just in case I get separated from Clax, I still have a light source on me.
Okay.
I'll put that in the chat.
I'll just give you a mild glow effect around you.
Can we tell what the change of is that just stone of some sort? The like, or texture changing like a couple steps away from us, going from the metal grate to stone?
Yes, you sort of look down and you notice what goes from this metal grating seems to transition pretty sharply into unworked stone. It's rough. It's not sort of carved in any way, but it's flat still. It's not sort of like bouldery. It wouldn't be difficult terrain or anything, but it is a drastic change in flooring.
You think it's a bad idea if I take a little stone and throw it either closer to where the pool or just the floor, just to see if
I was just going to ask basically the same thing, but about throwing a stone into the pool. So I don't think.
great. We have a two-step process. Yeah, first a stone gets thrown out, just onto the off of the grate and onto closer to the pool, but not fully.
Sure. Go ahead and roll me just a. You can go ahead and do your crossbow attack as if it's a ranged weapon, just for ease. Seeing how precise. This is more for the pool.
Just for the pool itself.
Yeah. So one of you throws a rock. It's not hard to hit this stone, and it just sort of bounces off the ground. But as you wind up to throw something into the pool, it's more just like precision.
I'm not even dead certain if I have a.
Or just roll a
ranged
d20.
weapon.
It's fine.
I'll just. Sure.
Yeah, it's going to be d20 plus 2 at the end of the day. Yeah. You chuck a smaller sized rock, a flint sized rock, into the pool. Just like a little
pebble.
Yeah, there's a little like sploosh. Nothing.
Why does this room feel so spooky?
It could be because of the giant ominous black sphere.
Fair. Is there anything notable? Like, does there appear to be anything at the top of those staircases? Like, do they like seem to lead into like tunnels, or do they just go up to the roof and then stop?
No, there seems to be an opening that sort of the stair opens up into some other floor or level to this place, and it's sort of in the same moment that you acknowledge. Whereas this is sort of a stairway going up, there's also stairways that are going down. As you walk a little closer to it, you just sort of look down and it's like, okay, there's stuff above us and below us.
So, a quick cue. What is? And I see, and I'm happy to get closer. What is this thing down here that I'm gesturing to?
Sure. Are you getting closer? Are you investigating?
I'm happy to. I will stay on the iron grate for now.
Okay.
Meandering my way over.
Okay. Are you all following with Drada, or what is everybody else doing?
I'm gonna go ahead and inch forward around the other side. I just move my guy 2 spaces so you can see kind of the general area I'm moving to.
I would probably go with Drada.
I'm gonna stick in Klax's direction by getting closer to the stairwell in case we need to zoom out.
Okay, I'll put Mouse sort of just between the two groups for now. Nothing happens when Klax is walking on the stone. I will just say that with some certainty. But Drada, as you're sort of approaching the back of this, so right now from the position you're in, you kind of get a profile view. I'm going to move you back here. You get a profile view of what seems to be a face that's sort of pointing inwards. It's sort of
Like that?
an abstract face that is, and it's only sort of the top half of it. So you just sort of see like a pair of eyes as well as like a circlet on top that are all sort of smooth carved stone. From this angle, there's really not that much more detail, but you look across the room to the one that Clax is shining light on, and you see a very similar sort of face. It seems to be featureless, wearing a circlet and pointing towards the center of the room.
I think I'd mutter this to the folks to Flint nearby. Part of me wonders if there are 4 faces and there's not super anything distinguishing them. Or at least the 2 that there's the one that Clax is illuminating and there's the one next to us. I'm wondering, like, well, I got some like elemental vibes, and we sure learned about 4 elementals earlier, with multiple religious theories behind them. Could be related to that in some way.
Yeah, definitely looking for any symbols or whatnot.
Any fire, earth, or air, any of that jazz.
Okay.
Anything we know that's connected to quintessence.
If both of you could roll me an investigation check, as you're just sort of getting in the zone that you're in right now. Flint, not so much, but Drada, you're kind of in a rhythm, and as you're sort of circling the back of the statue, you look, and what you didn't. I'm gonna ping back over here. When you were sort of approaching the back of what was clearly like a now somewhat destroyed statue that must have been affected in the blast, as you sort of look at this one that has been untouched, you see a more full mural on the back. It shows a black circle, and it sort of has lines, sort of like wavelengths and lines of energy sort of radiating off of it. With a 14, you see that the mural almost extends to the floor, and you see that the metal etching on the floor, for this particular mural, it's almost like they carved a few extra of these wavelengths, as if trying to demonstrate that this radiation or whatever it is sort of coming off of the mural. And so it's the black sphere with sort of these wavelengths coming off of it, and there's additionally a pattern that you observe around the orb. There are 3 yellow dots above it that seem to be gemstones of some kind, just at first glance. Really small. And to the left, right, and bottom of it, so as if there's like sort of 4 quadrants, there are 3 blue dots on each side. So sort of 3 yellow on top, 3 blue on the right, 3 blue on the bottom, 3 blue on the left.
We got some art, y'all. Yeah, I relay. But yeah, they might be gemstones, and given what we've experienced with some gem magic and I know blue is connotated with like protection / abjuration, if I remember correctly. No, green was necromancy. Did we talk about what yellow was?
I'm going through my notes right now.
Yeah.
I'll just say that Flint knows that yellow is, well, the yellow gem that would come to mind would be a topaz, assuming you're following this logic, and that would be conjuration.
Do I know what about blue gems?
Well, if you're following this train of logic, which I'm not saying is correct or is true or false, the sapphires would be abjuration.
part of me wonders if we might find some yellow stones upstairs and some blue ones in the basement.
Klaxon, because you're sort of relaying this, but also Klaxon and Aesop you're doing your own thing up top. What are you guys up to?
I probably go over and look to see how damaged this mural was from the blast. Like, how bad is it? Like, completely destroyed? Are the gemstones still intact back there?
You can roll. Well, at first glance, and only hearing sort of a little bit of chatter about what Drada is noticing. Drada sort of says, like, there's art here, and then you look, and it is a little messed up. You could try to discern it or do something else creative if you'd like.
I would like to discern it, and then do I see gemstones here still in this one, or any kind of
go and
coloration?
roll an investigation check to kind of get a first impression of things.
Ew. 11.
You do so. It's in the time that you take in the method you're employing right now. It's kind of a mess. You do see the you do spot that there are two fragments that sort of are laying on the ground that are puzzle pieces that would match up with sort of the black circle that that Drada had sort of indicated in the other mural, but you're really not able to discern like what to do with them or where they belong in the mural or what's happening with them. You just sort of find like, okay, well, this one must be about a black circle too. And you do see that there are several red and yellow, like really small red and yellow gemstones. Some that are sort of on the mural, but you're not because you don't know where the black sphere goes. It's hard to really discern much about where they belong on it because there's also a couple on the ground.
I'll kind of stage whisper what I found, specifying the colors yellow and red.
I think based on that, I would start slowly making my way, keeping an eye out for traps or creatures or whatever, but try and make my way over to the I don't know how to make a mark. Over towards this one.
Okay, the east one.
Yeah. Right, cardinal direction. The north right one.
Okay. And Klax, what are you up to?
Sorry, north right. I think I would just kind of getting the gist between the stage whispers and everything else that everybody's starting to look at these. I would probably try and discreetly, carefully make my way over here to see if I can see what's on the back of the northernmost one.
Okay. If both Flint and Klax could roll an investigation check, sort of discern some details from these two. These are also unaffected. Okay, there you go. Klax rolls well on intelligence.
I'll take it. I've actually rolled pretty well tonight. I can't complain.
Klax on the... Oh, sorry. I am fixing my camera thing. Klax on the north one. We'll just go with you first because you did roll a natural 20. You have this one seems the most plain of them all. This one just has a black sphere on it, and it has, and each of the four quadrants is 3 blue sapphires. With the natural 20, I would say this one doesn't have the radiating lines. This one doesn't have whatever Aesop's is sort of trying to piece together right now. This one has it's probably the one that is has the sharpest lines. The one that was created with the most sort of precision, if that makes sense. It's like this was a really important one that was they took care, whoever made this took care in drawing these circles and setting these sapphires in or these blue gems in the side of this mural. And Flint, as you're sort of making your way to the east one with a 16, in contrast to the one that Clax is looking at, this is a sphere that within the mural has been rendered to be shattered. This sphere has broken apart, and surrounding it, you see 6 yellow dots, 3 above and 3 below, as well as 3 blue dots on the left and 3 red dots on the right.
I have not captured where all the dots are in my notes, and it's going to be a problem later.
I
sorry.
I can be helpful if it comes to it.
Oh, what was,
Fair.
it was 3 blue on the right and 3 blue on the left, or 2 blue and 2 red. Sorry, 2 blue, 2 red, or 3 blue and 3
3
red.
blue on the left, 3 red on the right.
Oh, other way. Okay, 3.
Yeah, 3 yellow top, 3 yellow bottom.
Left and okay.
This is when I was like, puzzles. Let's try it.
Okay.
With that in mind, let's actually take a break, though. As you, let me type some of these things out so that you can correct your notes. Take a quick bathroom break, and we will come back and figure out what the hell it is you're doing next.
Sounds good.
Alrighty. You guys have taken a cursory glance, at the very least, at all of these murals. Otherwise, not a sound in the air. No. I mean, you've indicated that you feel like it's a bit spooky, but the reality is that it's pretty stale air in here, outside of the little humidity that's coming from the pool, just from the nature of there being water. But what would you guys like to do to continue this?
I will start walking back towards the rest of the group to relay what I've seen on mine, kind of again stage whispers, and again not getting too close to the center, just kind of try and stay on the outside as I make my way back around. I kind of want to regroup with the rest of the party and let them know what I saw on mine and see if they have any ideas.
I'll go with Flax wherever he's going. And just being like, I'm just worried that we're not going to be able to figure out anything until the West mural painting, whatever it is like somewhat put together. Because there's also just like, there's like the gems or the stones in there, but they're also very much scattered about. I don't know if it's going to be help to us if we really need it or not, but I'm just worried that it might be a hindrance.
And I wish I knew stuff about what the fiddly doos do with their tiddly winks and make all their magic stuff, but it's lost on me. So
technical terms.
Speaking of which, I do think Flint will probably sit down and ritually cast Detect Magic, with the intention to do a once around this room before we leave to go upstairs or downstairs or whatever the heck we're doing.
I think Drado would, upon hearing the not the western wall. Oh god. The west mural is still perhaps in need of deciphering. Is happy to give it a look and play around, moving some stones, seeing if they fit. But then afterwards, Drado's eventual intention, and he would make it clear, would be he'd want to head upstairs and see what's upstairs.
I'll help you on the western mural. If you're gonna head over there.
So this, it's kind of a mess. The mural. You've discerned that there's a sphere that could somehow fit into this. The problem is that the blast, whatever it was, has sort of blown a hole deep within, and there's a lot of debris. So you're not just kind of like, it's not just a 2D puzzle. In order to know sort of where the sphere is or where the gems are supposed to fit, you would have to sort of you'd have to fix the inside so that the outside could even be put on, if that makes sense. There are layers to this for it to be a puzzle, let alone just a lot of like rock dust on the ground. Like you're not going to have very even pieces. So if there's something, you can sort of like fiddle around with it a little bit, but unless you really spend some time and do something kind of creative with this, it's sort of like pouring out a jigsaw puzzle and then being like, well, don't know what to do with this.
So I think if we're seeing that might not be the smartest way of going about it, Drado would then probably circumnavigate the room and look at all of the others to try to find any patterns as far as placement goes, and then compare and contrast, see if if there is any shifting or any pattern going clockwise or counterclockwise, just trying to find any semblance of a pattern or connections that they could make to estimate what would be going on in the western panel.
Okay. Go roll me an intelligence check just to sort of discern maybe a little bit of information from that. Okay. There you go. Let me just check my notes on something. So you look at the position of the sphere, and sort of within the three murals that you sort of can discern right now, that all have this commonality with there being a sphere, even though one of them has the sphere being shattered. You do see that the sphere placement does vary so ever so slightly. The sphere that had the shattered sphere. Sorry, my words are failing me.
Eastern one.
Yeah, the east statue that had the shattered sphere. It appears that one is sort of positioned in the upper right corner of the mural, and that the how it's sort of the yellow and blue circles around it are still sort of surrounding the sphere, but the sphere, as it's sort of shattering, is going downwards, sort of like in a rain from the upper right to the bottom left. The one that sorry, comparing notes. The one that is radiating. Oh wait, no, sorry. The one that's radiating is from the top. It's in the top right. Sorry.
But the southern one is top right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna start over. Apologies.
All good.
The one that is radiating energy, which is the southern one, which is the 3 yellow and the 9 blue. That one is in the top right, and it's radiating energy sort of away from that section of the mural. The shattered one, which is the one on in the east on the right side, that has 6 yellow dots, 3 blue dots, 3 red dots. That one is from the bottom left, and it's shattering to the top right. But the one that has the 12 blue circles around it, the one that is sort of like pristinely made at the north end of this layer, is sort of just placed perfectly in the middle. So it's sort of like the three of them are sort of top right, middle, bottom left. But that doesn't really tell you where to place the sphere on the other one.
And the sphere currently is in the center of the room, but like as high up as it can go.
A little higher than the normal ceiling, because there's like an upper recess as well that mirrors. Yeah.
Part of me wonders if whatever the current placement is. Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength. Yep.
So we're currently in Western mode.
Yeah, because we don't know what that is.
Interesting. I'm wondering if we find some gems somewhere.
Do you guys want me to start circling the perimeter a little bit more? See what's in the rest of this cave?
I wonder if we should take a closer look at the pool.
I will say at this point, your detect magic ritual has finished, and if you're going to do a perimeter search with that up, you do not actually find anything additional with detect magic. What is the radius of it? I should be clear.
That's a good question. It is 30 feet.
Okay. Your detect magic, well, you can, based on the information that you have, you can comfortably get close enough to touch basically everything in the room, including the sphere above. the pool without actually having to go into the pool. Two things you sort of notice doing a perimeter check of this room. One is that the sphere is radiating powerful abjuration magic. The second is that the perimeter of this entire space that you're in seems to be I would say almost devoid of magic in an unnatural way. Like, there's sort of latent magic in the air that some people can use to sort of manipulate. And it's not that that weave isn't there. You're pretty confident that you wouldn't need it to cast spells or anything. But there aren't any sort of just ley lines or ripples or anything that suggests that power is coming into this place. It's almost like it's sealed away from the outside.
But not in a way that would like prevent us from casting spells. It's not
Correct.
like an anti-magic zone or anything.
Correct, yeah.
Can I go up to the north mural? I'm gonna move my character up there. Just a cute little
Yes,
walkover. And can I just pull out? This is just a curiosity thing. Excuse me. I just pull out Neptus to see if the gems match.
Similar shade and hue and clarity, but the one in the wall is. Flint would know that the ones in the mural are non-magical and much smaller. Neptus is kind of like a fist-sized baseball of a sapphire. These things are like, little gem that you might put in a necklace or something.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to be dealing with any elementals possibly from these. I'll look at class and be like, "Oh, go ahead, Jonna."
Go for it.
No, I was going to just look at class and be like, "Do you make any sense out of these like gem placements?"
I don't, but upon saying that, I reach up and touch the gems on the mural. I'm with him on the north face, so that should be the pristine one that's done very well with the 9 or 12 blue gems, I guess.
I'll back up.
You don't back up fast enough, but nothing happens. It's like touching glass.
Nice setup there.
For a moment, you wince, just wondering what Clax is doing, but
I think Prada would welcome anyone to venture upstairs with them.
Yeah, I feel like we've thoroughly looked at this room. Do you have any other clues? Or upstairs or downstairs?
Which way are we going? Up or down?
I was like, up.
Okay. Do we want to use the northeast or the southwest? Or north left, south or north right, south left?
I think these are jokes that only Sean and I get.
Sorry.
Fun, y'all. Prada is close to the south left, and that was the one that he was planning on taking.
All right.
I mean, we're close to the one on the top right.
Divide and conquer.
I'll start
Ooh.
moving over.
All right.
for simplicity, Mouse volunteers to just watch the entrance for a little bit. She's gonna stay down here because she is determined that this area feels relatively safe, and she banged her back coming down.
Sorry.
So we have Team Dark Vision in the bottom left and Team Bright Lights in the top right. Is that correct?
That is correct. Oh.
Okay. It's, I would say, so both of these stairways lead direct into the ceiling. You sort of looking up close. This is not again, these are like stalagmites, like unworked stone that is creating a natural column that these stairs are going around. It is definitely a little bit strange in that way. It seems less manufactured and more maybe like it was made for anybody who might need to use it, but it was made in a way that is not like pristine or artful, we'll say. You both, from both corners, before you make your way all the way up, you do see, I'd say, Team Bright Lights. You do see above the stairs, like as you're maybe 10 feet down below it, the sign of like a blue glow coming from the next room above. And Team Dark Vision, what you actually see is like again at the same kind of like eye level, you see almost like a flickering light, like a light that is about to burn out. I'm going to give Adrada a survival roll just for one other sort of detail.
Sure.
I'll be like, hey, we see blue light. You guys see anything?
You can't really stage whisper that far away, I will say.
I attempted. Hey! I attempted. But I will look at class and be like, I do feel like you should go first. You have a lot more armor than I do, just in case.
I assumed I was going first up the stairs.
Okay.
With the 16 survival, this is not necessarily related to the blue light, Drada, but now that you have this angle on the room where you're halfway up it, and you're sort of, as you're putting your feet to these stairs, you can't help but just sort of notice that this entire construction of a place is slightly askew, like kind of like Leaning Tower of Pizza. Pizza.
My favorite institution.
It's just like 5 or 10 degrees off.
I hate that with a passion, but cool.
It does not enough to impede anybody, but it's sort of what you can tell is like it's a little bit reflected in the pool as you're just seeing the water is just like
cool.
slightly off, and you sort of like calibrate that with your feet, and you're like, oh, I am like slightly walking uphill, barely.
Hey, Flynn. So like, I hope this doesn't like mess with your brain or like. If you're obsessive compulsive in any way, like sorry in advance, but like the room is at an angle and it's just slightly wrong.
One immediately gets dizzy and falls over.
But it sounds like everybody continues to ascend their
Yes.
Respective stairs. You find yourself in both sort of approaching another chamber that what you immediately notice beyond the glowing blue lights is that you can't see across to the other stairway. The recess that the floating black orb was creating seems to be sort of pressed up into this room such that there's like this giant column of stone in the center. This is sort of what you're able to easily gauge from that. So there may be a slight moment of concern as you realize that like you don't see your party on the other end.
Yeah, sorry, just based on the description. So you said column of stone, but is it the blobs come up into this room, or the stone is carved almost like there's still like we're not seeing the blob. It's just stone that kind of takes up that area. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So the
bad
black
description
sphere. Yeah.
part.
The black sphere has disappeared from your view.
Okay. I will still continue to proceed on our end.
And you both teams have different sort of perspectives on this right now, but as you're sort of in this room, you are noticing that there are a number of like black marble platforms or tables almost, with these kind of like quartz-like cylinders placed inside and atop of them, that seem to be shining light towards the middle of the room. Those of you in Team Bright Light, which I forgot to turn your lights on this. I'll fix your lights here in a minute, but you see that there are these sort of like soft blue glows, sort of pointing towards the middle of the room. That once I fix it, you'll see your light mix with that as well. But those of you in Team Dark Vision, you see less of those lights, and then you see this one that's just sort of like flickering wildly.
But they're all blue lights, essentially?
It appears the ones in the room that you are looking at right now do appear to be blue, yes.
Do I see, from where we're standing at, do I see 6 of them?
I'm trying to figure out what you see based on how much light you should technically have.
Okay, take your time.
Okay, here's your tokens with actual light.
Okay, so that one closest to us in the north is not pulsing, or is pulsing.
Close to you in the north does not seem to be glowing at all.
Yeah, so
yeah.
Oh, it's paused. I can't click. I wasn't going to move. I was just going to click to say which one I was talking about. Okay.
Yeah. This here there's nothing glowing coming from it at all.
Okay. And then I imagine same's for the one to the south.
Yeah, correct.
East.
So
okay.
You really see the 4 blue lights right now, and the 2 of you in the bottom left, you see the sort of 2 blue lights down here, as well as the sort of flickering one as well.
I don't know if Flint can help himself and walks over to that flickering light to just give it a little percussive
try to
maintenance.
fully
and
join
just
you.
tap on it.
Did you say percussive maintenance?
Yeah. Hit it with a hammer.
Gonna hit it
Tap
with a
on it.
hammer, but Drado will walk over with you.
If you don't mind, go ahead and roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Sounds about right.
My good friend Flint.
Ooh.
Okay. You do suffer half of this in thunder damage. So you take... Oops, I rolled as if I'm Drada, but just take 5 thunder damage as it sort of gives you like a back shock. You feel like a tingle down your spine, and you pull away before anything worse happens.
Does this make a loud noise, or...
No, I mean, it makes whatever noise you make as you yelp.
We hear that from where we're at.
Yeah. Flynn would probably make a loud yelp.
Fine.
That was unexpected.
Like, ah!
He's fine. He's fine. He's fine.
Maybe don't hit him.
Did he say just don't hit him? Why was he hitting?
I don't know.
That's how you fix things.
Drada is like, okay, hitting things, maybe not the vibes. Maybe not the best strategy to use, oh, I don't know what this is, let's smack it.
Oh, go ahead, Drada. Sorry, I thought you were done.
How dare you? I think would go up to the flickering one. Give me a moment to just look at my spell book. If possible, try to cast Absorb Elements on it, because it is an abjuration spell, and see if what happens to the magical energy.
Is Absorb Elements a touch spell?
Let me find out.
I think it's like a self thing, so I wouldn't...
It's a one creature. It's not necessarily self. It's one creature.
Really?
and it is not touched necessarily.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to. So it's like the effect happened when Flint touched it. So sort of standing next to it, like it's a reaction, right? You cast it when you suffer elemental damage of some kind.
Mm.
So you would have to trigger that damage effect. You're kind of thinking about it, and you're like, well, I can't do this unless I actually touch it.
Then I'm happy to touch it.
Okay. Roll a dexterity saving throw.
My pleasure.
And you cast absorb elements. Am I correct?
Sure do. Sorry, didn't mean to do that.
That's totally fine. You would suffer 5 damage for making the save, but instead you only suffer 2. As you get a more mild shock that you're a little bit more prepared for than Flint was. But nothing changes.
So this isn't something where you're like those pillars or whatever we had run into before, where we could cast necromantic spells like into them. It doesn't seem like this wants to take the spell.
It doesn't seem like what Drada's doing is having any effect.
Okay.
On our end, just walk. Can I see a path from where we're at to where I think the other side of the room would be? Where
You've heard shouting from across the way where those stairs came up.
yeah, but can I see a path without, like, just from where I'm at? Because it looks like there might be a way to skirt on the outside, but
Yeah, your bet. As you just sort of inch, I'm going to move you down this way a little bit. As you sort of inch, either in front or behind the lights, it seems like this is a donut-shaped layer. You would just walk around.
then I'll slowly start making my way towards them and just let them know that on our end we have 3x3. What would be, I'm going to orient it north to the nice wall, and just let them know we've got 3x3 up there as we get closer. So it looks like this is related to the stones in the murals below. Now, what that means, or how to change them, or why we want to change them, I do not know. So DM, I'm going to attempt to move down towards them, but if you want me to stop or not move all the way, just let me know.
No, you can make your way around.
Okay, I just didn't want to do anything without your.
I'll be with class.
Both of you go and roll a perception check as you're just sort of moving around the room here.
I'm sorry, was that for me or for?
For you,
Aesop?
we'll say you and Aesop just
Okay.
Independently roll a perception check.
Do for a low one. Let's see what I get. Maybe. There it goes. Oh shit!
Oh man.
Clax sees all.
Clax, 2 things you see from that. One, you see a first you see somebody who's watching Flint and Drada's escapades from, I'm just going to reveal them on the map. Man who seems to be of like air genasi sort of structure. His face is like almost made out of stone a little bit. Because you rolled so high, I'm moving you a little bit closer because it was kind of dark and it's sort of like when your light would shine on him, sort of when this is happening. But not only do you see that, but you see he's just sort of watching curiously as both Flint and Drada are playing with this flickering light. And then additionally, you look over at, you sort of like follow his line of sight, looking at Flint and Drada, and you see that there is a body behind the flickering gem that, like right here. there's a body behind the flickering gem that they just did not see because they were too eager to poke it. The body
Okay.
appears to be of a lizard folk woman of some kind.
Now, is that body like on the ground?
On the ground,
behind-
yes.
Okay.
And it's with a 19, Aesop, you're sort of like because you're, I think I would render this like you notice the same thing, but you're just like 10 feet behind Klax, so he notices it first.
I would immediately, I don't want to call it a yell, but a rather forceful voice. Identify yourself. And hopefully that's enough to catch these two guys. Let them know that.
I spin towards Klax's voice, and immediately hand goes to crossbow, ready to snap that baby out.
It's just like, it's just us.
And again, not just axes up. It's not in an aggressive manner, but just.
Sorry, I had a. Oh, okay, unrelated. The individual who Klax sees first, all eyes do eventually fall on him, and he looks kind of a little dirty, a little worse for wear, sagged shoulders, and he just says, I'm sorry. I've been down here for some time. Hello.
Hello, I'm Klaxostis. And you are?
Adrieth. He sort of you see he's holding like a pickaxe in his hand.
So, Adrieth, what are you doing down here that you've been here for some time? And I'm going to slowly inch towards him. Nothing aggressive. I want to, nothing. I'm not trying to hide my movement. Just, again, bright lights way above. Just kind of closing the distance a little bit.
Before you respond back, can I check behind where we came from to make sure no one's like trying to come up behind us?
Yeah, I'd say with your previous perception check, you just take a glance back and don't see anything.
Okay. I'll follow, after doing that, I'll follow 10 feet behind Klax, maybe now 15.
Adrieth sort of looks at Klax, like, but then sort of also looks over his shoulder towards Drada, who, if I recall, has a crossbow leveled at him.
No, just hand on crossbow.
Oh, hand on
like,
crossbow, okay.
It's not like ready to go.
Okay, gotcha. I misunderstood. He says, well, he looks like he's trying to figure out how to answer the question, and he says, well, I mean, all this seems broken, and it seems like we should try to fix it, right?
Do you also
All-
see that the room's crooked?
He moves his neck over towards Klax and then just sort of looks at the ground and says, I suppose it is.
Just wanted to check in.
So, Adrieth, how long do you think you've been down here, and where are you from?
Some time. Short on supplies as well. He looks at just he doesn't seem very talkative at the moment, is what we'll say, and he says, I'm sorry, what is your question?
How about this? Have you seen any other travelers through here, or are you a member of the Delver's Lodge?
He looks at you and says, I came with a group, not you all, though.
Can I try waving to Drada and Flint and try to like point to the body that's right next to them? Just being like, just trying to like imitate like dead person on the ground, just trying to point over there.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are like, you see that this lizard folk next to you. But then he sort of turns his attention. The man who's standing turns his attention to Clax and says, "And why are you here? Where do you come from?"
Well, I'm from Ildre originally, but we're here looking for the I just said it too. Damn it. The Delver's Lodge, who was sent here to investigate this area. And I'm curious if you're one of those members. We're here to get them out. And if you're not one, that's fine. But we need to understand what happened to them. And the fact that I see someone over by my two companions over there that doesn't look too good, I'm very curious as to what happened here.
Flint and Drada, roll a nature check, really quick. Oh yeah.
The big rolls tonight.
How about it?
Damn,
Holy
yeah.
cow.
Again, it's like I want to award more for the natural 20, but you both rolled so high.
We're
As
just like good at things sometimes.
Yeah, as Clax is saying this, you sort of just like look down at the body and notice that their posture on the ground, clearly dead. Posture on the ground, though, is a little bit more like their bones are I don't want to put this in a way that's too gruesome, but it's sort of the impression you get is that whatever shocking thunder damage effect hit you as you touch this gem, the body that is also kind of right next to this dais that the gem is on seems like it was like its bones have been shattered. This is, you're able to sort of gauge that, like, oh yeah, if somebody held on to that thing too long, this is what happens.
Unfortunate.
Do they have any like identifying clothing? Like, do they look like they've got like a uniform or a badge or something that would identify them as Delver's Lodge?
I mean, you could make an investigation check if you're going to pat them down.
Yeah.
Help.
As Flint is sort of trying to figure that out, Adriath looks at you and says, I suppose I could have been. Delver's Lodge?
Alright, Adriath, so why don't we do this then? I'm going to walk closer to you. And then I want to just talk. You tell me when I get too close, but I just want to talk and understand, what have you been doing here? And what have you gleaned from this? And have you seen anything happen to anybody, including that person over there that my friends are looking at right now?
You get closer and you see he doesn't run, but he does shirk back a little bit.
As soon as he starts shirking, I'm done moving towards him.
Okay. You're going through this lizard folk's pockets, and do you find kind of like a broken magnifying glass, as well as a variety of tools that you, Flint, as sort of a crafter, you sort of acknowledge as being something that like an appraiser might use to determine the quality of an item. And you don't really find any identifying clothing or anything like that. Like, if this person is Delver's Lodge, they don't really have a uniform per se, but you could imagine that people who are spelunking might. This is equipment that would be used to sort of inspect gemstones for their clarity and for their vibrant colors and all sorts of things like that. It does look that this person could belong in such an organization.
Okay.
So when I get a little bit closer to him, up to the point where he shirked away, and I believe you mentioned he had a pickaxe in hand, knowing that, you know, how weapons look after they've been used, and I'm assuming I can apply similar logic to how tools would look after being used. Does it look like that's been used on people, or does it just look like he's been using it truly for excavation of something? Like, is there gore on the pickaxe?
Your light is enough to touch it. You don't see any blood or black ichor or anything like that. It looks like it just a little bit wear and tear, perhaps.
So then I guess I'll just kind of continue the conversations with Adrith. So Adrith, what is this place?
He sort of like is staring over your shoulders and sort of looking at Aesop, but in a sort of inspecting way. He's just sort of inspecting everybody. He turns around to also look at Drada and Flint. And he's taking his sweet time answering.
I'm not pushing him.
Where's the rest of your friends that you came here with?
Good.
Good question. He says kind of with a blank face, not in a sort of smirky way.
Hey guys, this guy seems awfully confused.
Absolutely.
Does he,
Oh, good.
Does he look like he's got like a head wound or anything?
He has sort of like a cowl over him. He does not look to be injured. He might look a little malnourished, perhaps, or like exhausted.
If you had to estimate like days, weeks, months, how long do you think you've been down here?
He just sort of looks at you and says, "A very long time. We should... Do you think you can fix that?" He sort of points over at the flickering light next to you.
What happens if we do?
He doesn't answer.
Why do you want us to fix it?
Well, there used to be more of them, and then he points now. So he's pointing to the... Originally he was indicating to the one next to you, and now he points at the one that's directly next to him, the sort of blank table here, and he says, it shattered last night, or maybe it was night, I'm not sure. And he points to the ground, and you see like there's like quartz pieces and dust on the ground. It sort of like indicates that one of these sort of like quartz devices that are shedding this light, there was one here, but it sort of like appears to have exploded or been destroyed on the ground.
Was there anything happening at the time that it exploded? Like, were you guys messing around with these devices, or?
He has a blank look on his face. We learned not to touch them, I think.
Which, can I like glance at some of these other ones that don't appear to be shedding light and see if they also just have a bunch of broken quartz dust around them?
You do a quick check, and the answer is no. Some of them you don't see anything at all. It seems like the one that he is at is the only one with sort of dust on the ground. The other ones just seem like they're missing. Or at least you'd have to look more closely to find them, but sort of at a glance.
Where do you sleep?
He doesn't answer.
I'm gonna slowly
Can
reach
I-
my back.
Can I, as you do that, can I start? Actually, I'm gonna wait. Never mind. Sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just gonna reach in my sack, pull out a ration of dried meat. Food? Packs up food.
He raises an eyebrow and sort of walks towards you.
Hold out the piece of food.
Yeah, he'll take it.
Okay.
And he puts it in his mouth and starts chewing.
Making friends already.
Do you feel a little better now?
In time, perhaps.
In time, perhaps.
Does he look like he's got like? Is he carrying like a big bag or pack or anywhere that he might be, feasibly hiding a bunch of these big gems or something?
He's wearing a cloak, but he's not carrying a big bag. So like his cloak could have, and he's wearing trousers, so it's like, he could have pockets and such. But these aren't they aren't giant gems or giant pieces of quartz. They're kind of the size of a, I'd say the size of like a candle, like those sort of tall wax candles.
Are there other gemstones here? Happy to get them.
That would be
Okay.
one way to fix them.
What's the other?
I don't know.
What do you know?
I don't feel like anyone is supposed to be here.
Then why are you still here?
Well, I've been here for a long time. He says that as if it's an answer.
Would
At
you
some
like
point,
Go ahead, Drada.
Rada gets tired of this conversation, and just says, "Cool. If everyone's fine with it, I'm gonna keep Mouse. We have a friend downstairs. Posted as to what's going on, and then maybe check out the basement."
I will point out, I did forget to mention this. It's hard to tell on the map I made because stone blends in with stone, but the bottom right and top left corners go into additional spiral stairways that go up further.
Oh,
that's-
yeah,
oh,
totally
okay.
missed that.
Yeah, I just assumed that's where we came up from. Okay.
No. Yeah, there's stairs down, which are these, and then there's like there's the one up that you guys came from, and then there's two more stairs up in the other corners.
I'll look at Drada and be like, "Do you want me to join you?
Please come along if you so wish.
Okay. Are we going up or are we going down?"
Either way.
Adrieth, what's up?
Up.
You point up. There's more.
Exciting.
It's
Yay.
safe.
You want to come with us?
I suppose.
Lead the way.
Very well. As somebody pops their head down and says, "Mouse, A, B, C, D," like catch her up, if you'd like.
Good.
But with direction, he starts leading you guys upstairs, unless anybody stops him.
Oh, follow behind him.
I'll be behind you, Clax.
Take up the
Hold
rear.
on.
I'm sorry, Jacob, say it again.
I'll take up the rear.
You come to another room. I will say, just to sort of, I mentioned it during the last stair climb, the sort of slight tilt. That tilt seems to be consistent as you're climbing up. It's not now tilting in a different direction. It seems like this entire structure, however many levels there are, seems to be a little bit on its axis, a little bit. And as you come upstairs once again, I've not arranged the tokens where they're supposed to be, but you find a room that has sort of these, like a mass of clay urns that are sort of arranged in a grid-like pattern. I'm just sort of loosely putting Adriath up front. Across the way, you do just sort of, those of you who are taller do see that there's another stairway going down. You do not see a stairway going up, but you do see a strange, in the middle, a strange, like, black onyx obelisk of sorts. It is maybe like 5 feet tall and sort of pyramid-like in the center of the room. And surrounding it has sort of these miniature statues that represent the sort of faces that were on the that were a few levels down with the murals on them. You don't observe that there are any murals in this room, but you do sort of, or that there are any murals on these statues, I should say. But you do observe that the faces are there, and these ones are pointing outwards. But each of these sort of shapes here seems to be a clay urn of sorts that is sort of abstractly shaped at first glance, and they're all sort of faced in a direction towards the center.
Adriath, you know what this room is?
He doesn't respond. He's just sort of walking forward.
Is he walking towards the center of the room?
Yeah.
I will keep a very close eye on him, and I'll try and stay within 5 feet of him at all times.
Okay.
Just because I have a bad feeling about the center of the room. And I'll kind of look back and just kind of signal.
Yeah.
Go and roll a perception check as you're sort of trailing him. Sorry, go ahead, Art.
Oh, I'm gonna just stay behind one of the one of the urns, in case something explodes outward. I have a little bit of cover.
I think I would also shout out, "Hey, what happens if we touch an urn?"
He doesn't respond.
Cool.
As he reaches closer towards the middle, he looks up at the onyx pyramid in front of him, and he just says the word, "Listen."
I'm keeping my eyes intently on him, but I will guardedly and cautiously see if I hear any noise in the distance.
You don't hear anything.
Rada closes his eyes and just tries to listen.
You don't hear anything.
Is he specifically touching the obelisk when he's saying this, or?
He reached a hand out to it, but he's not touching anything.
Might have to get closer to it.
What are we listening for?
As you sort of ask this question and you're getting a little closer, as your light sort of spills out across this room, you see another body that is on the ground. This one is sort of next to this urn right here. And it is a gnome figure that has sort of like goggles on, and they seem to be like covered in black soot, and you see sort of just at a glance, and you see that the urn, this urn up here, has been broken open. I'm just going to draw like a little circle on it, a thing on it. Has been broken open, and it seems like the black soot seems to be filling the inside of it.
I'm gonna. Is this just me, or did everybody see it?
You see it first because as your
Yep.
light hits it, but
I'm gonna turn to Drata. Kind of signal over in that direction, like I want you to go get eyes on that.
And I happily waltz on over.
okay. You do notice Strata just sort of scanning the room, not even just this one statue. A couple other ones are open, not just this one. This is the only one that has like a body on it. But there are. I'm just going to mark a couple. There's this one over here. There's one over here. There's one over here. There's one down here. Which one are you approaching? The one that with the body next to it, or?
I'd say the one with the body next to it, and the one that's like upright of the obelisk.
Sorry, I should draw the body is the one that's.
These two.
Okay, gotcha. So the one that's closest to the obelisk is the one that the body's on, and as you sort of get a little bit closer to it, can you make me a Constitution saving throw, please?
You know, I'd sure not love to, but sure.
Yeah, why not though?
Not what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I was gonna go over there, but good thing I did not. Sorry, Drata.
I just because of traps or anything else, I thought Drata would be the best prepared for it, but
Be honest, because I'm saying this after you rolled, but how close are you getting to it?
Drata, I don't think is going to like get within like touching distance of it, but like
Just trying to like peer over, like
peer over, or like I feel like if he had a pole arm close enough that he could poke it,
okay,
like
you don't,
that kind of range.
yeah, you don't have to poke it by the time you feel 17 damage of necrotic energy washed over you.
fuck.
Cool. We're gonna use another absorb elements as a reaction.
Do I see anything like any gas or liquid come at him, or
no? But first of all, you can't use absorb elements because it's not an element. Necrotic energy is not.
That's great.
But it's sort of like.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, go ahead and roll a perception check, Art.
okay?
Or Aesop.
Not too bad.
Okay. Yes and no. It's more that Drata walked into a very faint like cloud of dust almost. It seems like this statue's radiating energy probably out 15 feet from it, and Drata sort of just mistakenly walked into it. And it's like ash, but it's very faint, and that's sort of what you notice.
But I still see it.
You do still see it, and
Okay.
Drata pulls away, I imagine, taking a step backwards.
Hey, don't go there.
What's wrong?
I feel like I want to vomit and die.
So it almost I was watching Drata walk towards the urn, the broken urn, and it's almost like you stepped into like some sort of like ash, like really faint ash cloud, and as soon as that happened, it then kind of like whatever happened to you, it was that exact moment. So I'm guessing any broken urn has a faint ash cloud around it.
You look around and it's only these two in the middle. The other ones that are open don't seem to be emanating anything at all. Sort of now that you know what to look for.
Great. Question. Would one infer We see this very faint ash cloud, and downstairs we see these black, impenetrable light spheres. Does this feel like magically they could be connected in some way?
I don't know that I, as a DM, have seen you collect enough data to make that connection, to offer any threads that might infer that.
I'm getting some serious Bomberman vibes from this map.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Adriath. Oh, go ahead, Flint.
Go for it.
I was just gonna. Adriath, what happened here? What's up with these urns? Have you gotten too close to one of these urns?
He turns around sharply at you, and just sort of like still holding his hand up, and just says, "Listen."
No, you listen. Step away now.
Oh.
Sorry, the quick movement has put me on edge.
Roll a persuasion check for me.
And I slowly make my way towards the other one with the ash cloud and just see if there's another dead body near it. I'm just trying to see if there's a connection between that.
You do a check and you don't see another body.
Oh, oh, that's too close.
And Aesop's dead.
You're dead. No, he sort of looks at Clax and pulls away. Puts his arm down.
What are we listening for or to?
The stone speaks.
What does the stone say?
He doesn't answer. I could not replicate it.
Could
I
not
think it's a
replicate.
really bad idea for one of us to touch it, or well, do what he was doing. I don't think he was completely touching it.
Flint, you're the more magic person than I am by a long shot, so I leave that up to you. But I think I want to
Yeah.
Flynn,
get
if you
out
do
of
it, I'll
this.
do it.
I don't know that I think multiple of us need to do it necessarily.
I'm just trying to enable you. You should do it.
All right,
Well, if
sure.
it-
Yeah, Flint's
I
a
was about to
big
say,
red button
if
kind of
it-
guy.
If it helps, I'll give you inspiration in case you need to use it. So I'll
Can you use
send
inspiration
over.
on saving throws?
Yes, you can.
All right.
I just checked, so I will use one of my bardic inspirations, a D8, over towards you for the next 10 minutes.
Oh boy.
All right.
You step close enough to where Adriath was, and it's not. You don't have to roll anything to hear it. It seems to be based on proximity to the stone, or to the pyramid in the middle. You just hear the sound of like, and this is entirely kind of communicated in your head. This is not a crashing sound. You hear the sound of like tumbling rocks, like an avalanche of an avalanche of something that is sort of like coming at you in a rhythmic way.
I don't have any sort of like intelligible message or anything. This is all just
No,
sound. Okay.
it's not a sound you've heard before either.
Do you hear anything?
It certainly gives off a energy or sound or something, but I don't know how to interpret it. I don't get the impression it's trying to communicate with me.
And just keep an eye on Edrith very, very closely now.
He's looking at the body on the ground, just sort of like cocks his head at it.
Adrian, what do you hear from this stone? Does it tell you anything intelligible, or is it just a noise?
He looks at you with a blank face.
I'm gonna stab this guy.
I think I'm gonna push the big red button and I'll stand the left of Flynn and see if I can hear anything.
Okay. As somebody who speaks primordial, you understand 4 elemental languages, and these languages are not like, you can't write, like they don't represent themselves in
a written language.
In a written language, yeah. And the sounds, it's sort of like you know that stone sort of would sound like this. If you were talking to whenever you've had these brief bits of insight from Neptis and it's been able to communicate anything to you, it's always been like the sound of a crashing wave echoing through your head. And as you sort of approach the stone and get this same rhythmic message, you interpret it as a message that says 2 sentences. Purity through pressure. Ard's sons are reborn. I'll put that in chat, just for the sake of it.
And as soon as I get out of my fixation on this sound, I'll step back so it's not permeating my mind.
Yeah. Give me, well, before you step back, as you interpret the
Okay.
message and you're looking at the stone, the obsidian as well, you note that there is a almost like a divot in the obelisk that seems to be sort of a little bit ornately carved, like a little hole that you could insert something into. Seems like it's like an inset for a gem.
Talking that, I'll step back out and relay the message that I heard, focusing on the term Ard. So if I heard that correctly, I actually didn't look at the message. Let me.
I put it in the game chat. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then mention the fact that there is a divot within the pyramid for something needing to be put inside of it, but not knowing what, of course.
Oh, does the indent or whatever in this seem like it's the size of the gems we saw downstairs, or what sort of size?
Considerably larger.
Like the size of a Neptus crystal?
Potentially.
You guys don't think that they could be in one of these urns, do you? That's why they were trying to break them?
Well, we're definitely without Mr. Chatty here. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot more information.
Can I, from here, see where the dust and whatever inside that urn is? Like, can I see the broken portion of it?
Not at your height. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. Can I lightly touch the urn next to me to make sure just touching the outside of the urn doesn't hurt me.
You do that and are unaffected by anything.
Does it feel very solid, like enough that I would feel comfortable climbing on it without it breaking underneath me?
You can't know that, but you do get the sense that these urns next to the statue, they do have sort of like half-inch thick clay walls, if you would call it walls. I don't really know, a thickness to the clay that you imagine to be fragile, but also, you know, the fact that they were broke open at the top likely implies that something swung at them.
Hey, Clax, can you come pick me up? I think I'm gonna
Sure.
not trust standing on this.
Walk over. Pick up. What are you looking for?
Well, just trying to see if maybe there's anything in that dust. And if I can like see in there, I would maybe try and use Mage Hand to just like sift through some of the dust that's inside the urn and see if there's
Okay, go ahead and make an Arcana check for me.
any sort of gem or something.
Okay,
That was a
16.
19.
16, still pretty good. It takes you a little bit of time, but you do, like, your mage hand does not really provide you the tactile sensation of like knowing. So I'm kind of imagining you're just like doing, like, you're putting the hand down and then lifting in the hopes that like you'll sift something out of it. And eventually you do pull out what looks like one of the cylinders, the quartz cylinders that are sort of put on the tables below.
You pull that out of what?
Was inside this broken urn.
The one that has the body in front of it, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll try to very much make sure I shake it clean and whatnot, and then move that over to us.
Yeah, you're not really concerned about the dust, whatever it is, seems because it has a necromancy air to it. It seems to be clinging to the area, not to the items per se.
Okay.
Hey, I just want to put into the space a little inference that I think my brain is connecting. Is that, wow, we're seeing a lot of dust, and that's cool. And that dust could be described as ashy, and that's pretty fun. We're getting some necromantic magic vibes, and in isolation, those are all well and good. Aesop, did you not just hear something about purity under pressure and then reborn? Like, are these dead people? These dead people.
I mean, I could absolutely see that being it. Purity under pressure, kind of pressure of fire, pressure of earth.
You can make a history check, Aesop. It's not high enough to tell you too much. There's a connection of something there. It's like you've maybe heard about it through your parents or something, that like elementals are they dissipate. Like a wave crashes and then it turns into a ripple, but eventually it's going to turn into another wave. Stone transforms into other minerals, and you imagine that when an elemental dies, they have to be put somewhere so that they can continue that cycle. I'll also say, Flint, as you're sort of hoisted up on Clax, you've only really closely inspected the two urns that have the necromantic energy coming out of them, but there are several other open urns across the room, and from your newfound high perspective, it seems like there's just like boulders and rocks in some of the other ones, like urns were built to encase stone.
This is like a earth elemental graveyard.
Well, and it sounds like that hole on the pillar here in the middle would fit your Neptus gem, maybe? Like, I wonder. I
I'm
don't
really
know.
worried because they're just different
Yeah,
elements.
but what if, what if there are stone equivalents of um, your Neptus type gem, and if you had one and we could use it here, could it reawaken something? I don't know. Or heck, maybe it would work on other types of elementals. I don't know this stuff. Also, class, you can put me down.
I don't know, I'm just worried about putting them in there.
Yeah.
Because it specifically mentions Ard, which is the god of, or earth elemental god deity beings.
Can I check one of those urns that you said just had like a stone in it, or it looked like it had a stone in it?
Yeah, they have, whereas the ashy one is sort of like a fine thing that you could sift through. These are like piles of large rocks. It would be considerably harder to sort of excavate them. But
Okay, so the inside is just rubble,
yeah,
essentially.
and
Okay.
large rubble at that. It's not like pebbles or gravel or
Should
anything.
we sift through the other necromantic energy urn in case there's another quartz rock in there?
I mean, we may need several, based on how many we saw missing or broken down below. So, sure, Clax will pick me up, and I will try and mage hand this other urn that's got the necromantic energy and see if I can sift around and find a crystal.
Go and roll another Arcana check for me.
All right.
Okay. The 20, you sift through this one, and there's a nature to this that feels like the ash is a little finer, and that it's perhaps either there's nothing in it for some other reason, or that it's just a little bit different. It's a little bit more decayed.
Okay.
With the 20, you're pretty confident that there's nothing in there.
Is there anything written on that urn or any of these urns? Have we checked?
They're pretty much abstract shapes, and you give them a look with all the light that you guys are shining on them, and there doesn't seem to be anything like that. You also know, just sort of from before, that if this is an earth elemental place, there's not going to be a written language.
Right.
I don't know why it didn't occur to me when we talked about making or having a campaign in a very elemental world that I should take primordial as a language. Like, it seems like a really. Which, in that realm, can someone who learns primordial speak it, or can they just kind of understand it?
They can speak it, but it is like having a foreigner dialect.
Okay.
Like you've heard Aesop talk to water elementals before.
Yeah, so I could speak a little earth elemental, and it just sounds like rocks crashing.
Imagine to Flint, it's like some people who can't roll their R's. It's like, I don't understand how you do that. All
So
right.
do we want to go downstairs and see if the cylinder could maybe replace the one that's been shattered down there and see if it changes anything? But before we do that, though, what are we trying to accomplish with moving them there? Do we want all to be blue? So it seems like that was the containment, for lack of a better term. Equal power on all sides, containing whatever's this black. Why are we even doing this? Let me even take a step further back. We found Nutso. We have 2 bodies. I'm pretty sure this is the party. The quarry itself seems safe. This is probably what Bali's all about. Bali.
Well, I was gonna say, did Bali or whoever imply that like miners had just been randomly disappearing or killed or something, or what was the problem from his perspective? Why was this stopping operations?
I think I mentioned some of this a month ago. So I'm going to reiterate some things, but if I didn't mention these, then I probably should have.
You probably did.
No, it's totally fine. Several things. One, when the opening was discovered, there was a sense of opportunity. It's like, what if there's something cool down there? And Bali saw this as like a commercial interest. One of the problems that arose was people went down there and they didn't come back, and therefore it's sort of being the impression that you're getting from more recent developments is that that there's perhaps a pause on any and all activity until any potential danger is cleared. You would be able to gauge that. You haven't spoken to Bali about this, but you would be able to gauge that what's down here is a little bit more complicated than probably anybody expected. It has dangers, and if somebody it has dangers, some that you've discovered, some that you haven't. I say haven't. I'm not. You know that there's more to this, and that chances are, without clearing it, Bali would not be able to reopen the quarry. At the risk of like creating more cracks and exposing more of the world to danger, or whatever's down here, he would want resolved.
Okay, so if they don't come down here, nobody's getting hurt, just outside. But there is a general fear that without some level of understanding or whatever with this, they don't want to reopen the mine and cause a natural disaster or something.
Yeah. Like the granite business, which he seems to care a lot about, would be shut down until somebody deems it safe to continue operations, let alone anything of value that is down here that somebody might lay claim to. But I just realized it's 10:37, so perhaps we should end on that note. The mystery of whatever this strange place is will continue, and all of the abstract confusion that I'm giving you guys will marinate until a tasty flavor comes out.
We're totally gonna put Neptus in that hole. It's just
And end the world.
in the world.
And hopefully, if Millie's feeling better, she'll come upstairs and be like, "Hey, where were you guys? I was getting worried. I didn't hear from you for a few hours."
I'm sure she will feel better.
Okay. Well, I hope so.
And then just real quick, while you have everyone, do we want